HCR are keen to work with those organisations which have a similar value to us, and we see the relationship and the partnership with Glamorgan as being a sharing of those values. We're also keen to work with people who, like us, are agile and change and have had to develop and grow during these last few months. And also, business and sport goes together hand in glove, and we're looking forward to that relationship on that. We believe that you get out of something what you put into something, and we're keen to be part of the development of Glamorgan with all its connections with the communities. The resources of HCR are vast, both nationally and locally, and we are keen for people to give back to the communities for which they're part of, and for which many of us are coming back to Cardiff. For us, partnerships are more about intentions and purpose than about money, and we want to be part of the growth of Glamorgan going forward. The relationship between Glamorgan and HCR offers so much more to the community and country than just loving cricket. We're really keen to see how the partnership between Glamorgan and HCR develops, and we wish Glamorgan every success on the 30th of September. Pub luck. Watch this space.
That's great, Kevin. And have you been watching any of the action yourself?
I have, to be honest, and I've been very impressed. The live streaming has been fantastic. It's very clear. I must say, it's as good as you're going to get in obviously this COVID world. And yeah, really enjoyed it, I must say.
Thank you very much for your time.
Pleasure.
Oh my God! Sweet! Hit!
Yes, Deb.
Get in! Trot! Trotty! Spot! Back out! Oh, yeah! Come on, boys!
That's off, Cal.
Yeah, boys! Double hit!
Oh.
Oh, watch!
So you still run the it's how you get to that straight line. How quick you can do that.
Oh! It's out. Oh, it's out. Come on. Irish. Oh, that's tight. Hit. It's on. Come, boys. Oh. Back up. Yes, Rob. Finish him. Push the foot. Push the. Reverse swing. Hit, Josh. Oh, that was fun. Oh, boys. Yeah. Oh, good. Oh, good. Ready. Finish it off. Finish. Oh. Yeah.
Each match is played by two teams of 11 players. Some are batters, some are bowlers, and there's one wicket-keeper. Both teams have a chance to bat and bowl. Look out for the coin toss. That's how they decide which team bats or bowls first. Each team has 20 overs to score as many runs as possible. The team with the most runs wins the game. One over is made up of 6 good deliveries from the bowler. To score runs, batters hit the ball and run between the stumps. If the ball reaches the boundary, it's 4 runs, and if it gets there without bouncing, that's a 6. While the batting team is scoring runs, the bowling team are trying to stop them and get the batters out by taking wickets. A few ways batters can be out are bowled, caught, run out, stumped, and LBW. Watch out for signals from the umpires, fours, sixes, wickets, and these when a bad delivery has been bowled. Bad deliveries add runs to the batting team's score, and the bowler must bowl an extra ball. If you see the umpire doing this, the next ball is a free hit, and the batter cannot be out, bowled, caught, LBW or stumped. And those are all the basics you need to know to get behind your team in this year's Vitality Blast competition.
Got T20, and it's good to see David Lloyd back in training ahead of the visit to Birmingham. What qualities will he bring back to the squad if he pulls up fit?
Well, obviously his skill. He's a highly skilled cricketer, you know, in all three formats. So he'll bring obviously that in T20 cricket, opening the batting. You know, you might take a risk, but if he gets in, we know how dangerous a player he is, and he can take the game away from the opposition. So, and he's done that numerous times for Glamorgan. So, it'd be great to have Lloydie back in the side. Obviously, he's a captain. He was named captain of the 50-over side this year, which obviously the competition will go ahead. But that's how much we think of him within the dressing room and his leadership qualities within the group. So, he'll also help Cookie with various aspects of the game out in the middle. And look, we may have a couple of changes for the next game. Obviously Lloydie will be one of those changes, but there might be another which may surprise a couple of players, but and fans. But we need to try and find with the spinners coming in as they have done. I've been absolutely delighted with Sophia and Salter, the way they've bowled it so far this year, and Prem, you know, the last out, and he went for 17 in his first over, and then to come back and only go for 28 in his four showed a lot of character. So that's been hugely pleasing, and you know, it'll be great watching the last 5 matches, and hopefully we can get some wins in that. And you never know, you get on a roll like Essex did last year, and those last 4 or 5 games that they played got on a roll, and you can go anywhere. So we've still got a lot to play for, and that starts Friday at Edgbaston.
That's a big shot. Massive cheer. Beats the man at deep square leg.
Well, this is remarkable.
Glamorgan unchanged as well. They batted badly against the Bears in Edgbaston on Friday night. Matthew Maynard said afterwards they'd been looking at the games in chunks of 3 in terms of selection, so that team gets one more go or one more chance to prove itself at least. So Glamorgan leave out Wagon Douthwaite again from their 13. So Selman, Lloyd, Balbirnie, Chris Cook, Owen Morgan, Taylor, Salter, DeLange, Van der Hochten, Smith and Sisodia. You'll be in Tony's good books already, Andrew. You've mentioned his off-spin.
I know, remember it well.
Oh, well, you remember it better than me, because there's a few batters in Northants wish they'd bowl a bit more. I know that.
Well, Northamptonshire team, as I say, the same side that lost to Gloucestershire on Friday. So that's Richard Levy, Paul Sterling, Josh Cobb, the captain, Adam Rossington, keeping wicket, Alex Wakely, Tom Sole, Gareth Berg, Luke Proctor, Graham White, Nathan Buck and Ben Sanderson. The umpires, Jeff Evans and Russell Warren, are already out there. Morgan just taking the field now. And Tony, it's a sort of mirror image of times of the records for the two teams in this competition so far. Northamptonshire have won 4, lost 1, and Glamorgan won 1, lost 4.
Yeah, I think you mentioned early on that Northants winning the toss and batting first, probably because their strength this year, you can correct me if I'm wrong, has probably been in their bowling, and Glamorgan certainly have struggled with their batting. They got 160 once, they've been under 150 the rest of the time. So, you know, if everything goes to plan, which it not normally does in 2020, but you know, you'd say that they're backing their bowlers against Glamorgan's probably weaker element.
It's an interesting point, Tony, because I mean, before the start of the tournament, everyone was talking about Northamptonshire's top order, and with Sterling, Levy, Cobb, Rossington, and saying, you know, this is probably the strongest top order in the competition, certainly in this central group. But to be fair, apart from against Worcestershire in the first match that was actually played, when they shared an unbroken century, rather it was just broken, a century opening partnership, and Northamptonshire won that match very easily by 9 wickets, they haven't really fired. And what is interesting, in the power play, Northamptonshire have lost at least 2 wickets in the power play in all of the matches they've played so far.
That sums it up, really, doesn't it? I mean, 3 wickets in the power play, and you really are behind the game. And 2, you know, most bowling teams would be happy to get 2 in those first 6. It puts a handbrake on, doesn't it?
Well, it's going to be Sophia, the left-arm spinner, who's going to start. Just as Northamptonshire have used a spinner, Josh Cobb has used himself, I think, with the first over of all of the games so far. It's going to be Prem Sisodia, bowling from the River Taff end. And he's going to be bowling to Richard Levy, with Paul Sterling at the other end. And the 2 men out, of course the 2 boundary riders permitted in the power play. We've got a long on and deep mid-wicket, which is no great surprise. Otherwise, 4 on the offside, saving 1. 5, I beg pardon, because we've got mid-off as well, and 2 on the onside, man at 45, and man just at backward square, just next to the umpire. As Sisodia bowls first ball of this match, bowls to Levy, who's away straight away, turning it down past that man on the 45-degree angle, behind square on the onside, and they come back for a comfortable 2. So Levy is away. Northamptonshire looking for a win to get back to winning ways. They won 4 in a row, and then, as I say, they lost to Gloucestershire on Friday. Defeat largely down to the bowling rather than the batting, as Sisodia bowls, and Levy aims again to just play that away on the onside, taken on the pad. He just runs down to David Lloyd, who's fielding just next to the umpire, and there's no run. Sisodia at half a dozen paces, comes in, and that's beaten everybody. It's beaten Levy, it's beaten the keeper, Chris Cook, and it's gone down for 4 byes. What about that one, Tony?
Well, I was going to... Well, first impressions was it was 4 wides. It was down the leg side. It's obviously gone in between the batter and the stumps, hasn't it? You know, it's gone through him. So, good bit of bowling. I don't think there's a huge amount of room for error for Sisodia with the field he's got. He's got to be bowling middle and leg with that field. Just
watching on the replay, on the stream, he called it absolutely right. It just went between batsman and leg stump and beat the keeper. 6 for no wicket, and that's a big appeal for LBW, and he's out. Sisodia struck straight away. Richard Levy pushing forward, but didn't get very far forward, I would have thought. And Jeff Evans sending him on his way, and Northamptonshire have lost an important early wicket, and once again, this much vaunted Northamptonshire top order hasn't really fired, at least the opening pair hasn't, because Levy is on his way for 2, and Northamptonshire are 6 for 1.
Yeah, dangerous player from a Glamorgan perspective, and I'm really glad to see the back of Richard Levy. Seen him play some sparkling knocks in one-day cricket, so Sisodia's keeping up his great form. I was just looking at his stats for this year for Glamorgan. He's been a real success. He's 5 games, 20 overs, and he's going for 5.5 and over, you know, and he's bowling in the power play as well. So he's been outstanding this year.
Bowled really well against Northamptonshire when the 2 sides met at Edgbaston in the Northamptonshire nominally a home game. I thought he bowled beautifully in that. I was just having a look at the replay again. Yeah, he just didn't go anywhere. Just got sort of half a stride in. And yeah, that looked fair enough. The only doubt may have been whether it just hit him outside the line, but no, it didn't. So
yeah, you get sucked in a little bit when you got that feel of it's all going to be down the leg side. You know, cramped me up, and that was just a little bit straighter, wasn't it? One of the straighter balls he's bowled.
Well bowled, Prem Sisodia, and Levy replaced by Northamptonshire's white ball captain Josh Cobb, in rather earlier than he would have been hoping at number 3, and Sisodia in again, bowls his first ball to Cobb, who's off the mark straight away, just pushing it up towards the man coming in off the boundary from long on, and he picks up a single to get off the mark. 1 to Cobb, 7 for 1, and Sisodia having to retrieve the throw with an acrobatic tumble that might have got 5.9 from the judges, I think. Beautiful blue sky, gorgeous Sunday afternoon here in Cardiff. Barely a cloud in the sky, and pleasant temperature. Pretty much wall-to-wall sunshine on the drive all the way down from Northampton this morning. Here's Paul Sterling then facing. It's the first ball from Sisodia. Once again, almost a carbon copy of the previous one. Just plays it up to long on, who's on the boundary. So Sterling is off the mark with a single and nicks the bowling. 1 over gone. Northamptonshire 8 for 1.
Yeah, good start for Glamorgan. That you're looking at the field he had there, premises. So he's got. We've seen it quite a lot in international cricket as well. That you can push it through mid wicket, and there should be a comfortable 2. But you know the 3 batters with Josh Cobb as well. They're not big runners between the wickets. They're good strikers of the ball. So it's probably quite a nice field for him, and he just can't give any room to the offside because, as you said, they're all in a circle there, and that's the 4 ball really, isn't it, through the offside of him.
So it'll be Andrew Salter to continue the spin attack. Glamorgan opening up with spin at both ends, as they have throughout this competition. 8 for 1 after the first over. Glamorgan will be glad to have Levy back in the Stirling, in the competition, in the pavilion rather. Levy played briefly for Glamorgan seconds. Salter bowls down the wicket, stumps! Paul Stirling has gone as well. Salter managing to sneak that one through, and Paul Stirling has to make the long walk back to the pavilion. Andrew Salter striking first ball. Tony.
Yeah, it was a funny one, wasn't it? It was a great bit of bowling because he kind of dragged him to play through the offside, didn't he? And then it turned back through the gate. But it was a little bit, I think there was a bit of bat and pad in it as well. It trickled to the keeper, didn't it? So he'll probably look at that and feel he's a little bit unlucky, Paul Stirling. But great start from the 2 spinners. And yeah, I liken this a little bit to Championship football. You can never pick it, can you? 4 wins for Northants, 4 losses for Glamorgan, and there they are at 9 for 2. Long way to go, obviously, but it's a great start. And Andrew's saying early on that you've lost 2 wickets in the power play, Northampton, in every game, and Glamorgan will be hoping for 3 and 4 here, Nick.
Lost 2 in the first 7 balls. That one just dribbled through to Cook. Must have struck something on the way through, bat and or pad, and it was just a question of Chris Cook having to wait for it to get there because Stirling is in a bit of a heap on the floor. 8 for 2 then, as Adam Rossington, the keeper, comes to the wicket, having made 29 last time out in the defeat against Gloucestershire on Friday. Josh Cobb leaning on his bat on the non-striker's end on this glorious afternoon in Cardiff. Temperatures improving a bit as Salter is in to bowl. That's turned on the leg side, and it'll be a comfortable single to get off the mark for Rossington. 9 for 2 Northants, having chosen to bat. And Glamorgan staying with this all-spin tactic to start with. They bowled 9 out of the first 10 overs of spin against Gloucestershire in the game they did win, with Callum Taylor chipping in with his off-spin as well. Salter into bowl to Cobb, drags that one down, it's pulled away. It should be stopped by Taylor just inside the square leg boundary, but they'll comfortably come back for 2 runs. 11 for 2, and Salter's been a real mainstay of the Glamorgan T20 side in recent years, Tony. Yeah, no, he's bowled very well. That was a poor ball though, that wasn't it, by Andrew Salter. Dragged that down. That probably should have been hit for 4. He's in a good position now, Andrew. We're ahead of the game here, Glamorgan, and he needs to finish this over strongly. Salter in bowls, and Cobb works on the leg side, but it's well stopped by Salmon at mid-wicket, diving to his right, to the approval of his fellow fielders. It's unusual, isn't it, to be able to hear quite so much from the middle without several thousand people adding their voices, as that's turned down to short fine leg and well stopped as well by Sisodia. And the early success of Glamorgan transmitting itself to the fielders as well. Yeah, maybe they've been told to up the game, Nick, from the back of these losses, show some more intensity in the field. Well, it's not been that half of the equation that's been the real problem, as that's on leg stump and driven up to long on by Cobb for a single. 12 for 2. And that is the end of successful over for Andrew Salter. 4 runs off it only for Northants, and the Glamorgan fielders looking to get round quickly, looking to keep the pressure on the visitors. Yeah, first impressions, it does look like it's gripping a little bit for the spinners, which is unusual. A new ball. It looks
it looks quite patchy, the wicket from here. There's a bit of green on it, but it does look as well as if there's a bit of in between there's probably a bit of dust, or it isn't as flat as it could be, because it's definitely gripping, there's no doubt about that.
Sisodia starting the third over, bowling left arm round, bowls to Cobb, who plays it back down the pitch. It's fielded by the bowler himself, he stopped it and finished up rebounding halfway down the wicket. It's interesting, Tony mentioned about this business of opening with spinners, and I suspect other counties are going to work out Northamptonshire's penchant for the way they play at the start of the innings, as Cobb goes on the back foot, rocks back and plays that up to long on, and they pick up an easy single. Cobb goes to 5 and Northamptonshire 13 for 2. Interesting, in the last game, the defeat against Gloucestershire, it was Graham Van Buren who dismissed them both, the left arm spinner, who dismissed them both in the same over, after they'd had a rich pickings against the seamers, and as soon as the spinners came on, they both went.
Yeah, there's so much analysis done in every dressing room now, where people's strengths and weaknesses are. It's no coincidence, I wouldn't think, that there's two spinners at the front end.
It isn't. And Sisodia bowling this time to Rossington, who is rather an ungainly looking stroke. He's aiming, I think, offside, and it went off the thick inside edge and went up to deep mid wicket and picks up a single. Not the most convincing stroke we've seen. Northamptonshire up to 14 for 2, Rossington to 2, and Sisodia from the River Taff end is in again, and once again it's a better looking stroke by Cobb, who plays it up once again to long on, and they pick up a single. Cobb to 6 and Northamptonshire to 15 for 2. Yes, the spinners, it was very much a pace-off pitch at Wantage Road on Friday, and Northamptonshire didn't seem to twig it until it was too late. And Rossington pulls that ball a little bit short, and Rossington able to pull that away behind square on the onside to the boundary. First boundary off the bat, 19 for 2.
Very much a buffet ball, that, wasn't it? It was halfway down, and the spinners have got no cover really. They've got Sisodia at the minute is long on and a wide deep mid wicket, and anything that's pulled down, that's just easy pickings.
Yeah, took it from around about the line of off stump, maybe just a tad outside, but as I say, the length was what gave them the ball to hit, and that's a better ball from Sisodia, and Rossington playing it up to extra cover, and there's no run there. End of another over, working through the overs quickly, 3 gone, and Northamptonshire 19 for 2, Cobb and Rossington with 6 apiece.
Yeah, I was just saying, Nick, that 2 poor balls really, they got away with 6 runs there. It's a time to put some real pressure on from a Glamorgan perspective, because Northampton will be under no illusions that they need to make sure that they don't lose another wicket in the next 4 overs, and that's your time to just keep the run rate down a little bit. So good start by Glamorgan. Seamon now though.
Yeah, Rory Smith it is, from the Cathedral Road end, one of the headband brigade this season, with haircuts more difficult to come by.
I'd love to have a hairband, man.
I'll buy you one.
Would be of no practical use.
Sure, you look very cute with it. 19 for 2 as Smith runs away from us and bowls to Cobb, and that's played gently on the offside. There's no run. Rory Smith missed the start of this campaign with injury suffered in the first red ball game of the season, so he's out for a month. He's played 2 games, 7 overs, 2 for 60 so far, Rory Smith, but generally seen as one of the frontline Glamorgan bowlers, particularly in this form of cricket. Then he comes, bowls, that's driven to mid-on, straight to Salter, no run. 19 for 2 it remains. Both sides wearing predominantly navy blue. Glamorgan with the daffodil trim, and Northants with the striped maroon shirts. As Smith gets noisy encouragement from his fielders as he runs away from us and bowls, and Cobb tries to pull and mistimes that one straight to mid-on. It's another dot ball. What about this pitch, Tony?
Yeah, I was going to say it doesn't look that easy to hit through the line. The 2 drivable balls which were hit okay, but straight to mid-on, and that was a short ball. He threw his shot a little bit early. It looked like he got a bit of a toe on that. So first impressions are there's not a lot of pace in the pitch, and for the spinners it just gripped a little bit.
So could be a little sticky, could have to revise predictions downwards of a power score as Smith bowls and Cobb plays defensively out to cover Selman Fields. No run. 4 dot balls in a row.
Yeah, that one as well. He was lining it up in between mid-on and mid-wicket, and it ended up going off a thickish outside edge to extra cover. So again, that gives you an idea that it's not really coming on as the batsman would like.
Voice of former Glamorgan and Sussex batsman Tony Cotty, now with Sussex full time, of course, as Smith bowls, and that's a dab and run. Smith could have a shot at the stumps, misses. He would have been better off shying at the non-striker's end had he been able to turn in time, but that was probably too much of an ask for the bowler in his follow-through. But Northants forced to take a few risks to get the scoreboard moving.
Yeah, I think he was out, wasn't he, if that had hit, and not even you and your pomp could have turned and thrown that at the bowler's end.
I never had a pomp, Tony, unlike yourself. Dear. Particularly not this season. As Smith will bowl to wicketkeeper Rossington, and he comes, and that is again mistimed, so that's 1 run, and that was a quick single off the over from Rory Smith. It has looked a painfully slow pitch at the moment, Tony.
Yeah, I first and foremost, it looks, it's always putting your neck on the block a little bit here, but it looks a 150 pitch to me. 160, you always think if you get 160 on the board, it's probably par, but you fancy chasing it. This on this pitch, I think a 140, 150, and I think Northants, especially with Glamorgan's batting, Andrew, so far they'll feel it. They're in the game. Can
we just talk a bit about, Tony, the decision to bat first, which is becoming, to me at least, very interesting. What do you think they read the pitch right and think it's actually not going to get any better?
Well, if it is slow, it won't get any better. No. That's for sure. So maybe that's what we can't see from this distance, but it does. It's playing as if it's a slow, wicket that's only going to get slower.
Tim van der Hoogten coming into hold for the first time in this match, running towards us from the River Taff end, bowls to Cobb, who flicks that away down towards the boundary at long leg, and he's going to pick up a boundary. Goes over the rope now, and that just straying down onto Cobb's legs, and he took full advantage of it, whipped it away, and he picks up 4 runs. He goes into double figures, 11 to him, and Northamptonshire up to 24 for 2. Yes, you mentioned also, I loved your comment about the fact that the 2 openers are sort of stroke players rather than runners between the wicket, as Van der Hoogten comes in again and bowls to Cobb, who plays defensively back down the pitch in the bowler field. Richard Levy ran a 3 on Friday and almost got a standing ovation from the dressing room.
Well, I was being very diplomatic because I'd love to be able to strike the ball like them too. I had to do a lot of running when I batted.
Well, it caused a certain amount of innocent mirth in the Northamptonshire camp on Friday. Serious business here though. 24 for 2. Van der Hoogten comes in again, bowls, and he's gone straight up in the air, and Josh Cobb should be out. He's going to be caught by the Glamorgan captain, the keeper, Chris Cook, and he is. And a 3rd wicket for Glamorgan. Van der Hoogten strikes. Cobb on his way for 11, and Northamptonshire in trouble at 24 for 3.
Yeah, again stuck in the pitch. I think he was just slightly going to cross the ball. Yeah, he was going slightly across the ball and to the leg side, and he just sat in the pitch and went straight up, didn't it? Bit of a leading edge. Very easy catch for Chris Cook. It looks like it's one of those pitches where you do need to run between the wickets, and it's not easy to strike through the ball. So at this stage, to get up around the 40 mark off with no wickets down off the power play, I think you needed to run a bit better and take less chances, because once you go across the ball, it looks like it's very difficult.
Yeah, the fear I think a lot of Northamptonshire supporters have had this year, just following the games, and it's been a decent campaign. Obviously, they won 4 in a row, but there's just a suspicion that if the top order doesn't come off, then they've suddenly got to find a plan B. And we found actually, when Nick and I were commentating in the match between these two sides at Edgbaston, that again the top order didn't particularly fire, and it was left to the likes of Alex Wakely down the order, and Wakely in particular, and Saif Zabe, who's not playing in this match, to sort of give themselves some sort of total. Well, the batsmen have crossed, so Rossington is facing. Luke Proctor is the new man in, and Rossington pulls that short ball down towards deep backward square. And he's only going to get a single, as it's smartly fielded down there by Callum Taylor. So one more to Rossington, who is 8, 25 for 3. Luke Proctor, interesting to see him pushed up the order. He was batting at number 7 on Friday, but he's going in ahead of Alex Wakely, which is slightly surprising. Perhaps whether they wanted a left-hander in.
Yeah, probably, just to mix it up for the bowlers.
Well, Proctor, Friday, in fact, was his first match in this competition this season. Van der Hoogten comes in, bowls to Proctor, who works that away for a single on the onside. Comfortable single to him. He got off the mark, 27 for 3, 1 to Proctor. Batting to come for Northamptonshire, of course, Alex Wakely, Northamptonshire's twice title-winning captain in this competition, Northamptonshire leading run scorer in this competition as well. Then Tom Sole, son of David, rugby fans will know all about. Van der Hoogten in bowls to Rossington, who places up to extra cover, goes for a quick single and gets there okay. Rossington's stopping distance means there was absolutely no chance of a second, even if there had been anybody backing up. But anyway, Rossington picks up another run off the last ball of the over. 9 to him, 1 to Proctor, and with 5 overs gone, Northamptonshire 28 for 3.
Yeah, it looks like kind of wicket for the seamer that you can't drag it down because it just sits up to be hit. It's one of those wickets where you must hit the pitch hard, but hit the top of off stump. It's got to be, I think, just over a length, and make people try and drive you, but it's got to be hitting the pitch, and so far it's very difficult to score when you hit that length.
Smith running away from us at the Cathedral Road end, and that's a dab on the offside from Rossington, and no run available there. Scoreboard had Proctor on strike momentarily, but of course he is the left-hander in the equation, so it certainly isn't him. BBC Radio Northampton, BBC Sport Online, also available via the Glamorgan website with the video stream and our commentary as Smith bowls, and that's squeezed down to third man by Rossington, and they'll go through for a single. 28 for 3 after a couple of balls of this 6th over. Northants under pressure. Can Glamorgan keep it that way? But I think even if Northants only get to 140, if they look at the Glamorgan scores in this competition, they will think themselves in with a shout. Left-handed Proctor on strike then, facing up to Rory Smith. That's a poor ball down the leg side, wide called. 29 for 3. Generally look to, 40-ish as a sort of baseline in the power play, Tony?
Yeah, but again, it's the 3 wickets down. I think at the moment they wouldn't be thinking too much of the runs now, power play. They need a partnership, these two, and to get Northants back on track.
As Smith in bowls to Proctor, that's worked away nicely past fine leg, and that will run away for 4. Nice turn of the wrist by Proctor to find the gap in the field. Wide of Van der Hoogten at short fine. 32 for 3.
Yeah, just sliding down that, wasn't it? Good shot by Luke Proctor. Just leaving the ball hit the bat really, and turning his wrists on it. Went past short fine leg for comfortable 4. It's the line. If you bowl inside the stumps here, they miss your hit. I think it's going to be very difficult to score.
Scoreboard's got in a right medal. It's at least 32 for 3. As that is played on by Proctor, chopping onto his stumps. Glamorgan get a 4th wicket, and Rory Smith joins in the wicket taking, and Northants' top order is all over the place at the moment.
Yeah, it's stuck in the pitch, and probably hit the sticker of the bat and then just roll back onto the stumps. Just seeing a replay here round the wicket. Yeah, just playing a little bit away from his body, but that's T20 cricket, looking to run it down to third man, and just rolls back onto his stumps. will deem himself feeling a little bit unlucky from that, but I think there should be some talk in the dressing room now about what this pitch is, and I think the Northants batsmen should be saying, look, can we get up north of 6 and over here to start with? You know, how are we going to do that? Can we build a partnership so that the last 5 overs are where we can go at 8, 9 and over at the end? Because at the moment, if they keep on going like this, then there's no target going to be posted, and it should be a breeze for Glamorgan. But again, as you said, Nick, Glamorgan's batting isn't too special and in this comp this year, and if Northants have done their homework, they'll know that on this pitch 140 is going to be a tough score.
The scoreboard still has got in a bit of a muddle. I believe it is 33 for 4. Wickets 1 apiece for Sisodia, Salter, van der Hoogten and Smith. That is definite. And the new batsman Alex Wakely in at 6. Smith in to bowl, and Wakely defensive, pushing out on the offside. There's no run, so the batting to come: Sol, Graham White, Berg, Buck and Sanderson. Both sides unchanged despite defeats on Friday. Northants losing to Gloucestershire, and Glamorgan away at the Bears at Edgbaston, who seem to be just the Bears in their own marketing these days. No Birmingham, no Warwickshire, as that is a push on the offside from Wakely, and there's no run.
Yeah, that was a great end to the perfect 2 balls from Rory Smith there, all hitting the top of off stump, hitting a heavy length, and very difficult to strike. You know, it's just defending. It looked championship batting that, and I think Northants, Alex Wakely's no better person to be in there at the moment. Very experienced, and I'm sure he's talking to Adam Rossington, and they're both thinking, listen, we need a partnership here.
Absolutely right. 33 for 4 it is, subject to audit. 6 overs gone, so we're about to start the 7th, and it's going to be Tim van der Hoogten to start his 2nd over, and he's going to be bowling to Adam Rossington, who dabs that down on the offside, just goes to backward point, no question of a single. Good bubble about Glamorgan in the field, good energy, as you would expect. Right on top here, 4 prime wickets gone. Northamptonshire having lost Levy for 2, Sterling for 1, Cobb for 11, Proctor for 5. This after Josh Cobb won the toss and chose to bat first. Van der Hoogten in again, bowls to Rossington, who drives nicely, and it manages to beat them out at extra cover, and it's going to run up to the boundary and cross the rope now, and that's a welcome boundary as far as Northamptonshire are concerned. 4 to Rossington, who goes up to 13, and Northamptonshire 37 for 4 as the scoreboard goes blank.
Yeah. Excellent shot by Adam Rossington over his length there. Tim van der Hoogten, he pretty much a longish half volley, but beautifully put past extra cover by Adam Rossington.
Well, as you say, Tony, you've got all the experience in the world as far as Northamptonshire are concerned here. You've got the red ball captain in Rossington, as that ball played up to mid-on, and Rossington through for a sharp single. 1 more to him, goes up to 14, and 38 for 4. And Alex Wakely, of course, the man who did the job before him, red ball and white ball captain, who decided he had enough last season and relinquished both posts, with Rossington taking over red ball cricket and Josh Cobb in white ball. But Alex Wakely still Northamptonshire's leading run scorer in T20 cricket, and showed in the match against Glamorgan at Edgbaston that he's still capable of playing an important innings. But he's out. Is he caught behind? No, I think it just bounced in front of Chris Cook. I think he got an edge.
Yeah, it looked like he was diving forward, didn't he, Chris Cook?
Just couldn't quite get there. He scooped it up, but fair enough. I think it just went to him on the half volley, but it found the edge from van der Hoogten, so he'll feel that was a moral victory for him. Let's have a look and see if we can see on the replay in a minute. 38 for 4. Van der Hoogten in again, bowls to Wakely, who drives straight back down the pitch, manages to beat the bowler, and mid-on has to come across to pick up, sending a return on the run, but not before they've come through for a single. So Wakely is off the mark. 39 for 4. Scoreboard is still blank, which is helpful.
Back to days when we used to have a BBC radio scorer.
Ah, yes. Well, we used to say at Northampton in the old days, he used to get paid 50p for going on the old telegraph board. Yeah, it just bounced in front. It was a good effort to take the catch by Cooke, but just landed in front of him. But it did take the edge. Van der Hoogten and again bowls this time to Rossington short. And has he been caught behind? Yes, he has. He went to pull that ball, short ball, and he took a little top edge. It went through to Chris Cooke, and Rossington didn't wait for the umpire's decision. He went straight away. And Northamptonshire now in deep trouble, 39 for 5. Rossington out, and a second wicket for Van der Hoogten.
Yeah, again, that was a short ball, and threw the shot too early. And it got stuck in the wicket again. So it's one thing I would say Northants haven't done from early on is assess this pitch, and they're still going for shots that if you're a bowling team, you're looking to bowl straight. If they miss, you hit, and mix up your lengths a little bit. But it's a heavy length hitting the top of off stump, and it's very, very difficult to hit through that, and they're still going for those shots rather than looking for singles, looking for twos, and it's all about resources, Andrew, isn't it? T20,
Yeah.
With what's in the 7th over, you got half your batting gone and your best half, and it's now what can you get, isn't it? What can you get from here?
Well, an awful lot depending on Tom Sole, who's coming to the wicket, played 6 T20 games last year, having made his debut the year before, but relatively inexperienced. He's got Wakely at the other end, but 7 overs gone, 39 for 5.
So 39 for 5 after 7. Andrew Salter back into the attack from this Cathedral Road end. And Sole at the non-striker's end, so Wakely is facing up. Cooke directing his troops. He still has got the 5 outside the circle, despite the 5 wickets being down. 39 for 5 as Salter bowls, and it's a dab and run on the offside by Wakely. 40 for 5. Do Northants just knock it around at milk singles for a few overs?
They've got to do that. I mean, if this was a really good pitch, a flat pitch, I think you still got to be very positive as a batting unit, but there is an element of, look, 120. Listen, you don't usually win too many games with that, but you've got to get north of that, and you might still be in the game.
Back on his stumps goes Sole, turns on the leg side. There's no single there because it was just to the right of Selman at short mid-wicket. So here's Salter in again, bowls to Sole, who drives, doesn't time it, and will get a single down to backward point as Van der Hoogten misfields slightly, but doesn't cost Glamorgan a run. 41 for 5 now, Northants. As Salter to Wakely, who drives nicely down the ground for a single. 42 for 5. In the 8th over, Northants having won the toss, chosen to bat first, lost Levy for 2, Sterling for 1, Cobb for 11, Proctor for 5, and Rossington for 14. Salter's Sole steps back, gives himself room, but only can hit it straight back to the bowler. Getting tucked up there. And Salter should enjoy bowling in this sort of situation, having done his bit by dismissing Sterling with his first ball. That's a poor ball, though. It's hit out to backward square, single bounce, single run, 43 for 5, and Salter getting away with that one slightly, but batsman almost holed out. Tony?
Yeah, I was going to say, that would be hanging yourself from the nearest tree. That was a halfway down, and he hit it straight at a deep square, thankfully, bouncing 10 yards in front. But yeah, it's the cross bat shots are very difficult, because you're not sure what pace the ball's coming off, and they've got into quite a lot of trouble with that so far, the Northants batting lineup.
Based on your extensive knowledge of conditions here, Tony, what do you reckon is a bare minimum defendable total? We were talking sort of 120, something like that.
Well, 120. You got to be lucky that none of the Glamorgan batters gets a day. But I mean, I think it's if you're around 140 before this started, and we've seen what it's like, you think around 140 to 150, and you'd be quite confident that if you bowled well and fielded well, that it's defendable.
Well, Hampshire would certainly snap your hand off for 140 at the moment at 43 for 5 as we start the Ninth over.
De Lange by the look of it.
Archant De Lange running into bowl to Tom Sole, who's on the back foot, plays that up to the man in there saving one at short mid-wicket. That's David Lloyd, and there's no run. De Lange, who Northamptonshire have seen a good deal of this season with bat and ball, notably that extraordinary 100 that he scored in the Bob Willis Trophy at Northampton a while back. De Lange in again, bowls to Sole, who just drops that down in front of him. And there's no run. Difficult for a young player, relatively inexperienced, coming in this sort of situation, having seen the top order blown away basically. He's obviously Scotland international and likes to bat aggressively, brilliant fielder, but this is a seriously tough situation as De Lange bowls short, very short, sails over his head, and it's taken by Chris Cook, just letting the batsman know he's there, not surprisingly.
Yeah, you would think, you know, the pace De Lange's got, that it's potentially a little bit easier to use that pace especially to get off the mark and get off strike.
43 for 5 as De Lange bowls another short one. That's cleared everything. It's cleared the batsman, it's cleared Chris Cook. It's called a no ball by umpire Jeff Evans, and it's gone for 4.
Yeah, you know, that it's not the brightest ball in this. I mean, you know, the first one...
I'm glad you said that, Tony.
The first one, I'm thinking, what are you doing that for? You've just hit a heavy length there, and he's not looking... Tom Sole's not looking as if he's hitting it anywhere. You bowl a bouncer, if he gets a little edge on it, it's 4, and then he follows it up with another one 3 foot over his head. I mean, it's not the brightest ball in that.
Yeah, I don't think Chris Cook's got the double teapot on, and I don't blame him. 49 for 5, and it's a free hit. Signalled by umpire Jeff Evans.
That's David Ripley's birthday present, you see.
Yes,
3-6 runs.
David Ripley's birthday today. Northamptonshire head coach, 54 today. As De Lange comes in again, bowls to Stoll, who tries to scoop it, doesn't make contact. He misses his off stump, it goes through to the keeper.
I'm disappointed with that, Andrew. That I'm 3 months older than Rippers, and I thought he had a far worse paper round than me. I thought there was more hills in Northampton here. I'm gutted that he's younger than me.
Yeah, 54 he is. De Lange in again, bowls to Sol, gives himself room, cuts, and he just clears the man at backward point. It was a great effort to try and take a catch there, but it goes away for 4, and Tom Sole living a little dangerously. It was a terrific dive by Andrew Salter at backward point, but it runs away for 4. So once again, De Lange going short and Sole benefiting just. He goes up to 6, 50 up, 53 for 5.
That's a poor delivery again, though, on this pitch, isn't it? You know, we've seen where to bowl, that's for sure.
Well, there's De Lange in again. Bowls to Sole, who chips it back towards the bowler for a moment. I thought that was going to carry to the bowler, but it didn't. It landed in front of him. De Lange himself fields. 10 off the over, so the most productive as far as Northamptonshire are concerned in the match so far. 9 gone, 53 for 5.
You know, you say this game's all about momentum, and Glamorgan have got that momentum, you know, in spades at the moment, and that over that's just been bowled, you can't say that's not deliberate when they're 3 halfway down the pitch. You know, it's just all about hitting the top of off. It's not rocket science, that. It's very difficult to know where to score.
Well, De Lange is an out-and-out paceman, but the ball up in the block hole would be the way to go, you feel, on this. 53 for 5. Maybe Glamorgan will look to the spin of Callum Taylor if De Lange's pace is not the best weapon today. It's the off-spin of Andrew Salter from the Cathedral Road end to bowl the 10th over, and the first ball nurdled away on the leg side down towards backwards square by Wakely. They've gone through for the single. 54 for 5. Sole on strike. Just the 4 in the circle, despite Glamorgan's dominance with the ball. As he steps back, gives himself room and cracks it out into the offside. They should be able to come back for 2 runs as Van der Hoogten runs around the cover boundary. Salter couldn't take his throw, but it was backed up by Salmon. 56 for 5, so Northant's just starting for the first time a little bit of acceleration. Can they keep it going? As that one, is it off the gloves? It's ended up in the keeper's hands. Off the something of Soles, but umpire Warren is not convinced that it was bat or glove, as Went for the sweep shot. No, it looks like the pad.
Yeah, it's gone up the flap of the pad, hasn't it, and rolled, hit the top of his thigh. Fair decision.
As Salter into the next ball is hit up towards mid-off, and I thought was going to be see Wakely holing out there, Sol holing out rather, but it didn't get up to long off. It ended about halfway back to the boundary, or just plugged. Smith couldn't get near it. 57 for 5. Wakely back on strike. Salter bowls and clipped straight to mid-wicket. Dot ball. 4 off the over so far. As Northants struggling towards the halfway mark in terms of their overs. That reverse sweep, big appeal for LBW, runs down to short fine leg. They take a quick single and they're home. Signalled leg by umpire Warren. 58 for 5 at halfway in the innings. Our Northants, having won the toss, chosen to bat. 2 wickets to Van der Hocht and 1 apiece to Sisodia, Salter and Smith, and Cobb 11, Rossington 14. The only players in double figures so far in this innings.
Yeah, I'm just looking how you'd plan from here with 5 down, and the 58, you run a ball at the moment. If for the next 5 overs you could get run a ball and be 90 for 5, you have got a chance, of getting 140, outside chance, but you can, 2 people in, you can slog it for the last 5, 10 and over, and that's Northants' way, I think. It's got to protect this partnership of 5 overs.
Marchant de Lange is going to start his second over, the first one being possibly not the best he's bowled. He comes in again and bowls this time to Wakely, who punches it away off the back foot towards the man sweeping on the cover boundary, and he gets a single. 1 more to Wakely, 6 to him, up to 60 for 5. If you're listening on BBC Radio Northampton DAB and you want to hear the rugby, then you'll need to retune to FM. That's the East Midlands derby this afternoon, Leicester Tigers against Northampton Saints. On DAB you've got T20 cricket live from Cardiff, as Sol tries to swing that away from de Lange and doesn't really get into line, and Alex Wakely coming down and just having a fatherly word with him, maybe. Just suggesting that perhaps isn't the option at the moment. Let's take a look at the scoreboard. 59 for 5 in the 11th. Sol gives himself room. This time he is going to get a run. Again, he just tried to open up the offside and squeezes it past the man at backward point, Andrew Salter, and he does get a single there. 60 for 5. Sol into double figures, 10.
Just remind me at the end of the over, I've got a little story for you about fatherly. Because a little condescending one now. You'd be a bit disappointed if you're Alex Wakely, but I've got a good one about myself there, I think.
There's de Lange in again, bowls to Wakely, and Wakely again drops it down on the offside. Seen it all before.
Yeah,
I think Andrew Salter picks up and they get a single. Northampton.
I think he's on that wavelength, and isn't he? Protect this partnership, get it up to about 95 overs to go, and then let's see where we can get to.
Well, the thing is, as you say, Tony, he's massively experienced, and a few situations in T20 cricket that he won't have encountered. As de Lange comes in again, bowls to Sol, who squeezes that away down towards third man. Once again, he was backing away, giving himself room, aiming to open up the offside. This time he squeezed it down to third man. He picks up another single. I say he does like to play aggressively, and he's up to 11, 62 for 5. And this is a very, very important partnership. They've put on 23 so far. Riches in the context of the game. As de Lange in again, bowls to Wakely, who drops that down on the offside, and again they come through. Good understanding for a quick single, but a well-judged one. End of the over, and 63 for 5 it is after 11.
Well, here's a little story. I lived with, I think I was my 37th year, just before I retired, and Tim Ambrose was the young Sussex keeper at the time. Went to Warwickshire. He was 19, and we lived in the same place together because I came up from, he was Newcastle, Australia, and I was up from Swansea. We went to do the weekly shop, as you do. As we got the check out, the girl said to Tim, "Do you think your dad will want help packing the bags?" I knew I only had another year left after that.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful.
Here comes Andrew Salter, parent only to a dog, as that's driven down the field, and a single to Wakely, up to long on. 64 for 5. As if bikes and Instagram didn't keep him occupied enough in lockdown, he got a dog as well. Salter into Sol, goes for a reverse sweep, makes a Horlicks of it, and it's a dot ball as Chris Cook takes off the bails, which of course means that umpire Jeff Evans has to trot in and replace them.
Great take, by the way, because that was left hand basically pull shot in the end, wasn't it? Right in front of his nose. Chris Cook took that really well.
64 for 5, Northants having chosen to bat. That's up in the block hole, driven back hard by Sol, but Salter gets down to it, does the fielding. Another dot ball. As Glamorgan try and keep the pressure on this Northants batting lineup. That's short and slapped away through extra cover for 4 runs. The batsman Tom Sol giving himself room and picking the spot well. 68 for 5.
Yeah, you'd have to say that Andy was disappointed. That was halfway down the wicket. He could have hit that anywhere. And when you think about the 4s that have been hit by the Northants batters, they've all been poor balls. It's been very, very difficult to hit anything that's been anywhere near a length ball, which T20 they say don't bowl length. But on this pitch, length is fine because it's very difficult to know what pace is coming off.
68 for 5 in the 12th. Salter Sol comes down the wicket, turns it into a full toss, drives up to long on, sliding stop by Andrew Balbirnie, the Ireland captain, down in front of us at the Cathedral Road end. And rather surprisingly, they didn't come back for a second run, despite the fielder being on his knees and not having the ball in his hand. But it's a good stop by Balbirnie to prevent the boundary. 69 for 5. Wakely on the strike. Salter in, bowls, driven again up to long on, slightly easier this time for Balbirnie, and again the single. 70 for 5, and Salter's rattled through that over in double quick time. 7 off it, 70 for 5, Wakely 9, Sol 16, and these two have put on 31 with the benefit of a few extras as well for this wicket.
Good over for Northants, 7 off that with that poor ball from Andrew Sol. He's finished his 4 overs, I think, at the moment. I haven't quite got it in front of me what his figures are.
1 for 19, I believe.
With that 4 ball in as well. Another great spell by him. He's continuing his form, that's for sure.
Prem Sisodia is coming back into the attack to bowl his 3rd over, 2 overs, 1 for 11 so far, bowling from the River Taff end, left arm round, bowls to Wakely, props it straight back to the bowler, and he's caught and bowled. What a soft dismissal that is for a batsman of Wakely's experience. He just propped it straight back to the bowler, took the simplest of return catches. Wakely is on his way for 9, and Northamptonshire are 70 for 6.
Yeah, that's exactly what they didn't want. Northampton, the spinner's back on there, and he's looking to hit that through extra cover, or just block it into extra cover for a single by the look of it, and he's played a little bit too open-faced, and it's got an inside edge, isn't it? That thick inside edge back to the bowler. So
looped back.
Very, very unusual way to get out to a left-arm spinner, but it says everything about the pitch again, and I know Alex Wakely will be really disappointed with that. They were just starting to build a decent partnership in the context of this innings, you know, and they were in with a position again to 90, you know, another 2 or 3 overs they were up with that 90-95 and on the way to maybe posting a competitive total.
Well, he's not the most demonstrative cricketer, as you know, Alex Wakely, but he's only just left the playing area, which gives you an idea of how absolutely gutted with himself he is after that. Very, very disappointed.
I think he's got good pads, because I suspect it was inside edge onto pad, and
yeah, that may well have been a bit of pad in there, but it just looped back. It was an extraordinary way to go. Well, into the crease now comes Graham White, who's had a good tournament with bat and ball so far. He's going to need to do something today. 70 for 6. Sisodia comes in, bowls, greets him with a high full toss, which is called a no ball.
Well, that was an unbelievable
extraordinary delivery. Just came out completely wrong. It's called a no ball, and it's a free hit. So that's a Brucey bonus for Northamptonshire at 72 for 6. They'll take those, I'm sure. Sisodia in again, bowls to Smith, who goes for a sort of wahoo through mid-wicket, gets a thick inside edge, and it runs down for 4. Yeah. So he takes advantage of the free hit, effectively 6 off that ball. White's away with 4, and Northamptonshire 76 for 6.
If it's not broke, don't fix it. No. And that looked like he was trying to bowl a big loopy ball, wasn't it? That he obviously slid out of his hands, and it's gone for, as you said, 6 runs, where it's not broke, don't fix it. Just keep hitting those lengths.
Sophia in again, bowls to White, who's solidly in behind that, plays it back down the pitch for the bowler to field, and there's no run. Yeah, Tom Sole made his one-day debut for Northamptonshire in 2017, hit 54 off 43 balls against South Africa in a tour match, and Sophia bowls to White, who chops that down on the offside, and it's fielded at backward point by David Lloyd, and there's no run. He made his ODI debut for Scotland the following year, 2018. He's a talented lad. Sophia comes in again, bowls to White, who looks to cut, gets a thick outside edge, it's running down towards the boundary, and he's going to benefit to the tune of 4 more runs. So that's a handy little flurry from Graham White. I say it's interesting, Tony, because he's just a white ball player these days, and I was talking to him after his excellent bowling performance against the Birmingham Bears, and he said then that it's difficult when he played absolutely no cricket until the end of August, because he obviously wasn't involved with the Bob Willis Trophy, and this time he's gone, he's stumped, and Sisodia has done him like a kipper there. He's just fired one in, and it's gone between the batsman and the leg stump, with White stranded down the pitch, and Chris Cooke does the rest, and Northamptonshire have lost their 7th wicket. Sophia strikes again. White, having hit 2 boundaries in that over, has gone. Yeah, that's a super bit of keeping. That's a lovely bit of keeping by Chris Cooke, because he had to take it in the end, outside leg stump, and managed to get it back, and White goes. Sophia strikes again, his 2nd wicket of the over, his 3rd wicket of the innings, and Northamptonshire are 80 for 7.
Yes, again, a little brief entertaining stay of 2 boundaries there, but it's not what Northamptonshire want at the moment. They're desperate for this partnership to get them over 100 and give, I suppose, the tail or the later order batters a couple of overs to slog their way up to something defendable, and they keep losing wickets, and 80 for 7 now it's going to be a tough ask to get anywhere near that 140.
Well bowled to Prem Sisodia, because he absolutely did him, as I say, like the proverbial kipper. So,
where does that saying come from? Do you know? What's done him like a kipper?
I don't know. It's not. I don't think it's a Northamptonshire expression. But 80 for 7, 13 overs gone, and as Marchant de Lange switches to the other end, Nick will tell you all about it.
De Lange from the Cathedral Road end, yes. Had him on toast. Kippered on toast. Who knows? 80 for 7. It's the first time Sisodia has taken 3 wickets in a T20 innings, having played just a couple of matches before this season, but only had an economy rate of 5.5 coming into this game. De Lange then is into bowl, and it is a play and a miss from Sole, from what is a rare beast, a De Lange slower ball, I think, that one, Tony.
Well, it bounced halfway to the keeper, so you'd hope so, wouldn't you? Or the wicket is very slow. 80
for 7 when the 14th. De Lange bowls that one rather quicker, and it loops down towards third man. Shouts of catch it inevitable, but it was a second bounce down to the man in the far distance there, and Sole picks up a single. He's the top scorer so far on 17 not out. It's 81 for 7 Northampton, the 14th over, and maybe just a question of batting out time, which sounds ridiculous for a T20 game, and picking up the singles when they can. De Lange in, bowls, and that's a short ball that Berg fends at, doesn't get anything on. De Lange still going back of a length despite Tony's fury.
But that had some pace from somewhere. Maybe he's a little bit too paced, this pitch, because that flew through to Chris Cooke at head high. He's a long way back there.
As De Lange is in again, bowls, and that's played down in front of him by Berg, but mid-wicket hastens in. There's no single.
There's one thing for certain, that on a slowish pitch and a quick bowler puts it past your throat, it keeps you honest, doesn't it? That is for sure. You're not going to be prodding forward too much.
I'm glad I've never faced anyone remotely comparable to Marchant de Lange. I'd be backing towards the umpire, as that's run down to third man nicely by Berg to get himself off the mark. 82 for 7. As De Lange marches back towards us, still left hand heavily bandaged as it has been virtually all season. As just tweaks his field a little bit, making sure the infielders are right on the edge of the circle. It's in to bowl, and that's hammered out into the offside, but I thought it was nicely timed actually initially, but it was still just a single for young Tom Sole. 83 for 7, and that's the end of De Lange's over. 6 to go. 83 for 7, Berg 1, Sole 18.
One thing I was going to say, he's running back to his mark there, Martian De Lange, so I don't know how time is going for the Glamorgan field inside.
3:15, so they've got 21 minutes to bowl 6.
Yeah. He was having a little jog back, wasn't he, in between balls?
Well, I suppose with the 7 wickets down, which is more than usual by this stage, you'd think they'd be added. Something might be added on.
Absolutely, you would think so. Well, Prem Sisodia coming into bowl his 4th and final over. Excellent figures, 3 for 21 so far. And he comes in round the wicket and bowls down the leg side to Tom Sole. And it's called wide by umpire Jeff Evans. One more on the total, 84 for 7. And just looking at Northampton's lowest T20 total against Glamorgan. Sisodia bowls to Sole, who drives that up towards deep mid wicket. They may think about coming back for 2 here, but Sole was keener, I think, probably than Gareth Berg, who's 39. And so they just settled for a single. Sole up to 19, 85 for 7. It is, I can reveal exclusively, 157. 157 for 7 here in 2009. 157 for 3 at Northampton in 2013. Sisodia bowls to Gareth Berg, who drives that up to long off, has to come in off the boundary and field, and they get an easy single. Again, Berg with all the experience in the world in this form of cricket. He's up to 2, 86 for 7, so something tells me that record might go today. Sisodia in again, bowls to Sole, who steps away and chops that away into the offside and picks up another single. Once again, it's the man coming in off the extra cover boundary, sweeping, who has to field, and Sole goes up to 20, 87 for 7. 5 overs to go after this. Sisodia in again, bowling to Berg, who drives back to the bowler on the bounce.
You know, one other thing it would tell me, and I might be completely wrong, is that probably Northampton won more games against Glamorgan than the other way around. If 157 is their lowest score,
I think that's probably true. There's Sisodia in, bowls to Gareth Berg, who plays that down towards the man at just saving one on the onside, Marchant De Lange, who sends in a rocket return, which I'm not sure Chris Cooke appreciates hugely. But hit the stumps, it might have been tight, but it didn't, and they came through for another single. 3 to Berg, 89 for 7. De Lange just saving one at backward square. Got a short third man and a backward point as well, giving Sole's penchant for the cut. He doesn't cut that one, he plays it back down the pitch, just on the onside. Sisodia himself fields, so that's the end of his stint for this afternoon. And 15 overs gone, Northamptonshire 89 for 7. 6 off that.
Yeah, well, they were up to that 90 nearly that we talked about 5 overs ago, but unfortunately
7 wickets down.
7 wickets down now, and if there were 5 wickets and Alex Wakely was there with Tom Sole, I think you could be thinking around that 130, 140 mark, which might still be defendable, but it's looking tough now to get. Really, it's looking tough if they get past 120 the way things are going. But you never know in this game; it changes so quick, doesn't it?
Does indeed. I'm going to have to leave you for the time being. So Andrew, if you can take this over as well, that would be lovely. With scoreboard reading 88 for 7.
Yes, that's not so lovely, but it's a pleasure and a privilege. And Tim de Hoogten it is, who's going to run in from this Cathedral Road end, our commentary position. Terrific view of the game, almost behind the arm. Good height, and as we say at every one of these matches, Tony, it's just such a shame there's not a crowd in able to enjoy it. He's got 2 men back on the leg side, a deep mid wicket and a deep backward square, both just in off the boundary as de Hoogten bowls down the leg side, and Northamptonshire are going to benefit to the tune of 4. A little tickle there from Gareth Berg. Wondered actually at one point if it had taken anything at all, but it did, obviously. Just a thinnest of glances. 92 for 7, Northamptonshire. Berg up to 7. And now there's going to be a little delay while they try and find the ball, which I think has disappeared under... Is that a cover down there, Tony? I think.
Yeah, the covers are behind the advertising boards. Again, Tim van der Houten running back to his mark. I mean, I'd be very surprised. You know, there's been a lot of spin bowl. There's 8 overs of spin bowl.
16 minutes to get through 4 and a bit. Van der Houten in again, bowls to Berg, who cuts and he's caught at backward point. Sucker punch, short ball, just carved it straight into the hands of backward point, who takes an easy catch. Berg exasperated with himself, as a few of his teammates have been before, but choice of shot probably not ideal. He's on his way for 7, and Northamptonshire are 92 for 8.
Yeah, just cannot get through overs without, as soon as they look to put a foot on the accelerator, you know, soft dismissal. You'd have to say soft dismissals, really. That's back of a length, just maybe about 5th stump, and he's given himself room there to cut, and there's no pace on the ball from the wicket, and it was nearly lobbed to backward point, really. There was no pace on the shot, and 8 down with what, 4, nearly 5 overs to go, and that's a cardinal sin, that in T20.
Don't bat your overs, dear oh dear. Well, Nathan Buck comes in, the self-confessed happy hacker. He came up with that expression when he's made some runs in the Bob Willis Trophy match against Worcestershire this year, and we asked him about it, his innings, and he said, I just went in and had a bit of a happy hack. So he's become known as the happy hacker. Northamptonshire could dearly do with him making contact with a few here. He hits a long ball, but this really is now a desperate situation for Northamptonshire at 92 for 8 after winning the toss and choosing to bat. 3rd wicket for Van der Houten, who's in again, bowls outside the off stump to Nathan Buck, who fiddles at that outside the off stump. It goes through to Chris Cook and there's no run. Slower ball, I think, from Van der Houten. And yeah, as Tony's been pointing out, the Glamorgan bowlers racing back to their mark. They don't want to finish up falling foul of the rules on time, as Van der Houten bowls and Buck defensively out on the offside. And there's no run there. Northamptonshire, if you're just tuning in or logging on, have lost Levy for 2, Sterling for 1, Cobb for 11, Proctor for 5, Rossington for 14, Wakely for 9, White for 8, and Berg for 7. 92 for 8. And Van der Houten in again, bowls to Buck, who plays that down on the offside to Andrew Salter at backward point, who took the catch just a moment or two ago to dismiss Gareth Berg, and there's no run. 92 for 8 it stays. I was interested hearing your stories about being mistaken for a father. I was watching my son play yesterday, and I realised that he played more attacking shots in, I suppose, being in about 2 overs than I think I played in 20 years of club cricket. It's frightening the way the game's changed. Van der Houten bowls outside the off stump to Buck, who again looks to fiddle that down to 3rd man, doesn't make contact, goes through to the keeper. End of the over, 16 gone, and Northamptonshire 92 for 8.
Yeah, it's amazing the way the game has changed. You can talk about I suppose it's a freedom everyone's allowed to play with now, isn't it? You know that you had to get it back and across your stumps when in my day, and if you took any kind of step to leg, it was round the county circuit before you could blink. So it's a freedom, and most people find the freedom of playing is to give yourself room and show the stumps. Today, though, it's one of those wickets where if you do that, you are taking your life in your hands going across the ball, because it's stuck in the wicket from the first over to the 17th.
Well, young Tom Sole, top scorer so far, 20 not out. He's going to be facing Rory Smith, who's back into the attack from the River Taff end. 2 overs, 1 for 7 he's bowled so far. The straight approach, and Sole's going to get a run here as he pulls that down to deep square, and he just come through for a single. So Sole up to 21, 93 for 8. First little milestone for Northamptonshire will be to get into 3 figures, which at least makes it look marginally less embarrassing. Obviously, as we always say, Tony, you can never judge until both sides have batted on it, but this doesn't look to have been a great batting performance in terms of some of the options and choices that the batsmen have made. And that's Buck playing to backward point, where it's smartly fielded by David Lloyd and there's no run. given that they've seen from very early on the nature of this pitch.
Yeah, do you know the series at the GS Bowl International Series, when they were playing on the same pitch over and over? By the third game, similar kind of pitch. You got slower and harder to score as you went along.
Smith in again, running towards us. Bowls to Nathan Buck, who will get a single this time as he squirts it down to third man. Just coming off the boundary, and Buck off the mark with 194 for 8. Tom Sole on 21, so having played in the first game at Worcester and distinguished himself with a brilliant catch, but didn't get a bat, and then was left out for the next few matches. Came in on Friday. Here's Smith in again, bowling this time to Sole, who's flicked that away, and I thought it was going to go for 6. In fact, it's just landed short of the boundary at fine leg, and it's run away for 4. Sole getting right inside the line and flicking that ball from Rory Smith. How do you play a shot like that?
I was just going to say to you, you talked about how many shots your son played compared to your career. You wouldn't have played one like that. That little
definitely
scoop
wouldn't.
over.
Little scoop over fine leg for 4. So Tom Sole's doing his best. 25 not out for him. 98 for 8. And what's going to be the response from Rory Smith? Fellow Scotland international, of course. And he bowls short to Sole, who tries to pull, doesn't make contact. He goes through to Chris Cook, and there's no run. Yes, I think Rory Smith's Scottish international, isn't he?
Yeah, born in Glasgow, educated in Wales and England, bit of Irish blood in him as well. So
proper Celt.
Yeah, real Four Nations man.
Glasgow born, bowling to Edinburgh born, Tom Sole. And Smith is in again, bowls to Sole, who pulls that up to mid-on and is going to be caught, and he is, and his innings is over, and Northamptonshire in grave danger here now of being bowled out inside the overs, which, as Tony Cott has been saying, is the cardinal sin in this sort of cricket. Sole goes for 25, just miscuing a pull, caught at mid-on, and Northamptonshire 98 for 9.
Yeah, it's that cross-batted shot again. It's so difficult. You know, it got stuck in the pitch a little bit. It lobbed, didn't it, to mid-on. The short ball before probably done him for a little bit of pace, because you know, when you know it's slow off the pitch, you kind of line yourself up for that slower ball. And that the previous ball went through him, and that one obviously stuck again, and he clothed it really to mid-on. So it is a pretty difficult pitch, but. After the first 3 overs, I think there should have been a little conversation in that dressing room saying what's a good score. And the way they played, they might have had that conversation, but the way they played is certainly it hasn't looked that way.
Well, as Ben Sanderson comes to the crease at number 11 with Northamptonshire 98 for 9, still about 60 odd runs short of their previous lowest score against Glamorgan in T20 cricket.
If you're going to do something, do it properly.
Absolutely, yeah. I think they're going to do it in some style by the look of it. But who knows? Still 3 overs to go. Nick will describe the next one.
Thank you very much. 98 for 9 then, with I suppose the target of Northants batsman is to pick up maybe 12 singles in the next 2 overs and maybe have a thrash in the last. We'll see. Can they do so against De Lange? Will they be more ambitious? De Lange is in. Bowls full length outside off stump. Beats Nathan Buck for pace as he tried to force on the offside, and this really is where De Lange needs to get it up in the block hole against 10 and 11.
Yeah, straight is the go here. I think, you know, if Nathan Buck misses, he's got a hit.
And he comes from the Cathedral Road end, bowls, that's carved over, cover, could be caught, it is caught. Northants 98 all out as that one carved away to backward point. It was fair enough to have a go at it, I think, but couldn't beat the fielder out there who got underneath it. 98 all out Northants, and nearly 60 runs short of their previous worst against Glamorgan. So a wicket for De Lange, who joins in the wicket taking spree. I think it was Salter out there on the boundary. And the bowling figures: Prem Sisodia 4 overs 3 for 26, Andrew Salter, 4 overs, 1 for 19. Rory Smith, 3 overs, 2 for 13. Tim van der Hoogten, 3 overs, 3 for 17. And Marchant de Lange, 3.2 overs, 1 for 14. Tom Sole was the top scorer with 25. The only other players in double figures were Josh Cobb with 11 and Adam Rossington on 14. Buck was out for a single, and Ben Sanderson didn't get to face. So 98 all out. Northants are going to have to bowl and field exceptionally well, but I suppose given it's a difficult pitch and Glamorgan have not been ripping up trees with their batting, then it's not quite as clear cut as you would have thought normally. Tony.
Well, if you don't chase 98 down, then there's some serious problems, because they didn't bat their overs out in Northamptonshire. Glamorgan will have seen the shots to play, the shots not to play, the way to go about this. New ball, I think still be ultra positive with the new ball. Hit good shots with the new ball for the first 6. But if Glamorgan don't lose wickets in those first 6 overs and they're anywhere over 30, then there's no ways back for Northamptonshire on that. I just think that there was a potential there after 2 wickets down to say, right, okay, 130, 140 is a par score on this, especially given Glamorgan's poor batting in the competition so far, and at no stage did it look like Northamptonshire had that conversation.
It's interesting because you were talking earlier, Tony, about how there's so many stats available now, and the analysis and the sort of lengths that the teams will go to. I mean, Josh Cobb is an absolute cricket badger when it comes to this sort of thing. He just loves the stats and the analysis, and puts a lot of time and effort into getting the figures and working out against each individual opponent where the runs are scored, and all of the various permutations and tactical decisions. But it just seemed today as though
And yeah, David Lloyd taking strike. Nick Selman at the non-strikers end. David Lloyd playing just his second match of the summer, having discovered the folly of trying to stop a straight drive with your foot in pre-season. And the first ball is driven back, and Selman and the bowler almost collide, the bowler being Josh Cobb, and that allows them to go through for a single. So Nick Selman took out the bowler there, one presumes accidentally, and Glamorgan are 1-for-0. So Northants opening up with Cobb as they have previously, and he will be bowling to Nick Selman, who is playing his third match of the competition, innings 35 and 6 so far, as he clips that one to square leg, and there's no run. Selman has not been a regular in this form of cricket, though he's generally performed pretty decently when he has got in the side, but that ball is off the leading edge and popping out on the offside when he was trying to play on the leg. Another dot ball, one without loss. Can he manage to squeeze one through the field or hit over the top? That's a poor delivery, and it's just a single as Selman got a bottom edge down to Sterling at short fine leg in the circle. 2 without loss. Cobb in bowls to Lloyd, back on his stumps, forcing up to long on for a single. Selman didn't need to take the bowler out on that occasion. I think it would have beaten him anyway. 3 without loss. And Glamorgan need to get off to an unblemished start to improve levels of confidence in that dugout as Selman pushes to square leg. No run. 3 singles off the first over, then bowled by Josh Cobb. 3-for-0, chasing 99 to win.
Well, no change, is there? Sticking in the pitch, very difficult to score. I know Dave Lloyd's a good striker of a cricket ball, and just looks half cock and everything that they're playing at the minute, waiting for the ball. What pace is it going to come off? And as I said, no change there. Great over by Josh Cobb, and it's all about squeezing now for Northamptonshire. Can they squeeze? Glamorgan make mistakes, because you've got to bowl Glamorgan. Well, you've got to get 4 or 5 wickets, Andrew, in the first half of this.
Oh yes.
You know, to be within any chance of winning the game.
Yeah. Well, Josh Cobb bowling the first over as he has in every other of Northamptonshire's T20 games this season, and it's going to be Ben Sanderson to bowl the second over, and he's going to be bowling to David Lloyd, who's on 2. Sanderson bowls to him. He hits that over the top, over mid-on. It's running down towards the boundary. Good positive statement of intent from Lloyd. It crosses the rope, chased back by Nathan Buck, but it goes over the rope for 4, and Glamorgan 7 for no wicket. Ben Sanderson, who had one of his less distinguished games in this competition. Dentony and Cobain early on. What's he going to do this time? Bowls, and once again he's gone aerial. David Lloyd. It's going down towards the boundary at mid-wicket. It bounces once, it bounces twice, it crosses the rope. It's another boundary.
Yeah, good shot that, wasn't it?
Great shot.
Just short of a half volley and hit it over the top and mid-on. One bounce. Is it, you know, go back again, you're winning the toss, Northamptonshire. I've been on the wrong end of a lot of these where you bat first on a wicket where you don't know what a good score is, and
no.
It's a lot easier now, isn't it, for Glamorgan batters?
11 for no wicket now, and Sanderson has gone for 4-4. He bowls again to Lloyd, full length. He drives up to mid-on. Good sliding stop by Nathan Buck, but they come through for a single. So Lloyd up to 11, Glamorgan 12 for no wicket. If you're just tuning in or logging on, Northamptonshire, who won the toss and chose to bat, bowled out for 98, by a long way their lowest T20 score against Glamorgan, in fact by 59 runs to be precise. Previous worst was 157. And here's Sanderson in, bowling to Nick Selman, who plays that up to short mid-wicket, where it's fielded by Alex Wakely and there's no run. The boundary riders, he's got a man at about third man, fairly wide, and a deep square. Those are the 2 fielders outside the circle. With power play overs, of course, you only allowed that. 2 outside. And Sanderson just pauses before he runs away from us from the Cathedral Road end and bowls to Selman, who punches that nicely into the offside. It's fielded at point by Gareth Berg. One more to the total. 2 to Selman, 13 for no wicket. Sanderson wiping the perspiration from his brow with his Steelback shirt. And they're just changing the field now. Third man coming up for David Lloyd, and they're bringing up, pushing out rather, deep mid wicket. So deep mid wicket and deep square with the two outside the circle. Sanderson bowls, he carves that away, and of course, having moved third man up, it goes down past third man. Paul Sterling in that sort of short third man position stood absolutely no chance. Ran away for 4, so a very productive over for Glamorgan there. 2 gone, 17 for no wicket. It had to happen, didn't it?
Well, yes. It was. You have to say one of the greatest delivery. Then was it? It was about 5th stump and short, so it was a free slash of the bat with no slip. David Lloyd looks like he's missed playing. That's for sure. He's on 15 off about 5 balls already. So yeah, he's. It's like anything really. When you're chasing a low score, if you can be very positive in this first 6 games, done and dusted really. And 17 is a great start. No wicket down. And who'd have wrote this script looking at the previous form?
Josh Cobb turning to his sort of trump card this year, Graham White.
So one spinner giving way to another at the River Taff end. I'm afraid it's not worth Northants listeners retuning to FM, because the Saints are 22-10 down at Leicester Tigers. A penalty try for the Saints, and Dan Bigger with a penalty. But it's only 1 try apiece, but the Tigers have kicked 5 penalties. 22-10, they're losing. Wasps beat Bristol 59-35 earlier in the day. It's the only game that's over in the Premiership of England, as Selman blocks that one hard up to mid-on, and there could be a run out here. No, I don't think so, as Lloyd started that one relatively late because it was played back past the bowler. It was a risky single, and Lloyd had to wait to see if it passed the bowler. If that had hit, he would have been struggling, I think, Tony.
Yeah, he actually turned his back, didn't he, on Nick Selman to look where the ball had gone, which isn't the greatest thing, and got a very slow start.
18 for North. Lloyd survives. Selman to 3. Lloyd drives into the covers, didn't time that one, but managed not to plonk it straight to the fielder.
Looks very positive, Nick, to be fair, David. As I said, he must have been missing it. 21
off 12 balls on Friday night in a losing cause, as Lloyd is hit on the pads. Not out. Ball rolls out on the offside. Dot ball. Good start from Graham White, this. Just the 1 run off 3 balls. He's got one of his boundary fielders at long off, the other at deep mid wicket. As Lloyd gives himself room and works it through the leg side. Should be a couple of runs here. There's intelligent placement from David Lloyd, wide of mid-on, and they'll jog back easily for 2. 20 without loss. Glamorgan in the 3rd over, chasing 99 to win. Fell apart once Lloyd was out on Friday night, but a more modest total again on this occasion, as Lloyd forces this one up to long off, takes the single. 21 without loss in the 3rd over. It was only the 3rd time that Glamorgan had bowled a side out for less than 100 in T20. Previous being 81 by Gloucestershire and 93 by Surrey. As that one's cracked by Selman, straight to cover. There's no run. 21 without loss. It's the first time that Glamorgan have dismissed the opposition for fewer than 100 in T20 cricket here in Cardiff. 21 for naught after 3, chasing 99. Lloyd 18, Selman 3.
Nick, you're not going to be very popular. You know Northamptonshire supporters are listening to this, and you are egging it up a little bit, haven't they?
Gotta
That'd be harsh, a bit harsh,
Gotta state
harsh,
the facts. Gotta state the facts.
Well,
however they lie.
I can tell you another fact. It's Northampton's sixth lowest total in T20 cricket.
Would
so.
I think you watch a lot more cricket than me this year. Would you say the T20 scores are a bit lower this year than in normal years?
Certainly Northamptonshire's games, they have been without a doubt. Well, Nathan Buck is coming into the attack, replacing Ben Sanderson, who bowled a rather costly first over that went for 14. There's Buck in, bowls to Lloyd, who swings that away, and that's going to be 6. That's a huge hit. He's picked it up. He's gone into the seats, down towards the River Taff end. That's an enormous hit over deep backward square, and he's just picked that up, and the ball disappeared into what would have been the crowd if we'd have had one. That's a terrific hit.
That's a 100-metre hit, that comfortably a 100-metre hit.
It went into the. It's a long boundary down there, and actually went into the seats. It cleared not just the rope, but the fence.
It's like a pickup shot, wasn't it? With the ball running down the leg side, and he got all of that. That was a fine strike by David Lloyd. Good striker of the ball, David.
Well, Nathan Buck looking at the ball now. It's bounced around in the concrete. Not terribly happy with it. Bowls again to Lloyd. This time Lloyd on the defensive, plays it back down the pitch, and Buck himself feels that was shot of the day, I think, wasn't it, Tony? I think. Yeah,
that was a long carry. But again, there's freedom here, isn't it, for these two Glamorgan openers. 27 in the 4th over, but more importantly for Northamptonshire, there's a nought in the wickets column.
Yeah, Northamptonshire really do need to break this opening partnership and get amongst the wickets and just make Glamorgan doubt a little bit. Not going to get a wicket this time, as Lloyd just runs that down towards third man. Adam Rossington has to scamper from behind the stumps to field, but they pick up one more run. 25 to Lloyd, 28 for no wicket. Lloyd's faced 14 balls for those 25 runs. That huge 6 and 3 4s. And Nick Selman on 3, quite happy to watch from the other end. He's facing now, though, as Buck runs in from down below us. This Cathedral Road end, bowls to Selman, who helps that round the corner, and he's going to get 4 runs. Again, there's a man inside the ring, inside the circle at backward square, stood no chance, and runs away for 4. 32 for no wicket, 7 to Selman, 25 to Lloyd, and Northamptonshire looking a bit bereft of ideas here, to be perfectly honest.
I do think they need to dig in, even if it is a loss, because run rate does play a part, especially you mentioned how tight this division could be by the end.
It could get very tight indeed as Buck comes in again, bowls to Selman, is hit high up on the pad, it runs down towards third man. Paul Sterling comes in off the fence to field, and it's going to be signalled a leg by, I think, by umpire Russell Warren. Yes, it is. So one more onto the total, 33 for no wicket. And Nathan Buck, who's been again outstanding in the competition this season, in that good run of victories for Northamptonshire, took 4 for 29 against Glamorgan in the previous match between these two sides at Edgbaston. And he's changing his field. He's sending out mid-wicket. Alex Wakely trotting out towards the boundary, and he's bringing in Paul Sterling from third man to a short third man just inside the ring, saving 1 as Buck bowls a full toss that's hammered down the ground, and despite a despairing dive by mid-off, who gets a hand to it but can't, that was Josh Cobb, can't prevent the boundary, and it goes away for 4 more. So again, a productive over for Glamorgan, and the Northamptonshire Seamers are going around the park a bit here. 16 off that over, all told.
Yeah, 34 for the last 3 after that opening over of 3 from Josh Cobb. So David Lloyd certainly very positive, isn't he? Anything that's been just over a length, he's thrown his hands through, especially anything on his pads, he's just flipped to the leg side. So very positive start from him, and Nick Selman with that fall just got a little bit of confidence as well.
England could do with a bit of confidence. They're 122 for 5 after 32 of their 50 overs against Australia at Old Trafford. So in difficulties there. as White bowls, and Selman comes down the pitch but only drives it back to the bowler. Batsman out, Roy 21, Bairstow no score, Root 39 off 73 balls, Morgan 42 off 52, and Butler for 3. So Billings and Wokes are the batsmen at the crease for England with only 18 overs left. Selman comes down the pitch and lofts that one over long on for 6, bouncing back off the concrete. Well, that's a collector's item. Don't see that many 6s from Nick Selman, but emboldened by David Lloyd, came down the wicket and struck that one very well indeed.
Yeah, didn't try to overhit that, did he? It was a very controlled shot mid-on the edge of the circle. He knew he just had to get it aerial for about 50 yards, 40-50 yards, and it was certainly a boundary. Lovely shot.
43 without loss are Glamorgan. We're in the 5th over. You wouldn't guess they're only chasing 99 from the batsman's response so far. White bowls and Lloyd plays that one just wide of mid-on and will take the single there. 44 without loss. Lloyd on to 29. The missing ingredient in Glamorgan's batting lineup in the first half of the campaign. David Lloyd recovering from a broken foot that caused him to miss the entire red ball campaign, as White bowls and Lloyd back on his stumps and playing that one up to long off for the single. Lloyd has 30, Selman has 14. It's 45 for naught in this 5th over here on BBC Radio Northampton DAB, also on the Glamorgan Cricket website and on BBC Sport Online. Welcome along wherever you're watching or listening, as Selman steps back and pulls that one through wide mid-on. He'll pick up a couple of runs as it just hauled in inside the boundary on the pavilion side of the ground, but just able to place that one nicely. As Tony said, not over-hitting it. 47 for naught. Selman to 16. Remains on strike. There's a slip-in still in the form of Levy. That's well flighted by White, but still driven by Selman up to long off. Takes the single. 48 for naught and 11 runs off the over, including that one maximum.
Tough place to be, this, if you're a Northamptonshire player, especially a batter who hasn't scored made a contribution today, because you know, it's one place you don't want to be when you can see that the opposition's going at a canter. I remember playing one game at Cheltenham where it was a 40 over game and it was knocked off in 13 overs, and I couldn't wait to get off the pitch quick enough, to be honest. It was horrendous. And that's particularly where we are at the moment, over halfway or just about halfway now, and only 5 overs bowled.
Thought did occur to me, Tony, it's 20 minutes to 4 now. If this finishes as quickly as it looks as though it might, will they play a beer match afterwards? As Josh Cobb back into the attack, bowls short to Nick Selman, who gives himself room, aiming to pierce the field on the offside, but doesn't manage to get that one past the man at cover. And there's no run. Cobb in again, bowls to Selman, who dabs that down nicely towards third man, and Paul Stirling has to make ground over to his left to Field, who's just inside the ring at short third man, and they pick up a single. One more to Selman, who's 18 and 49 for no wicket. Glamorgan, Cobb in again, bowls once again, just short of a length, punched into the offside this time by David Lloyd, but doesn't manage to beat Graham White in there at cover, and there's no run. Cobb in again, bowls this time, Lloyd playing it up to short mid-wicket, Alex Wakely, and there's no run. Cobb whipping through his overs, cut off is 4:38. I rather doubt we'll be here that long. Cobb comes in and bowls, and this is pulled down towards the boundary at long on, but Nathan Buck is there on the fence, just comes in off the boundary to Field, and they pick up an easy single. One more to Lloyd, who's 31. 50 up for Glamorgan, 50 for no wicket in the 6th over, chasing just 99 to win, and Cobb's gone straight up in the air, and he might just get away with this, I think. Nathan Buck coming underneath it, misjudges it. It actually drops over his head as he was sliding underneath it, and thought for one moment actually that was going to hit him in the face. Didn't. But Selman going for the big hit. It went up a long way. Buck charging in to try and take the catch. Looked to slide underneath it. And in the end, as I say, it just dropped over his head, and they pick up 2 runs. And at the sanitisation break at the end of 6, Glamorgan 52 for no wicket. Watching that on the replay, that was very close to wearing that, wasn't it?
He didn't really cover himself in glory there. No need for the dive or slide, really. You know, he picked it up quite late, I felt, because I was watching him rather than the ball to start with, and yeah, he slid right past it, and you're right, hands were nowhere near it. It could very well hit him on the head. But I think that kind of sums up Northamptonshire's day so far.
Yes.
Josh Cobb has bowled 2 very, very good overs, by the way, here in the power play, and he'll be disappointed not to get a bit of reward for those 2 overs, and which would have been, I think, 1 for 6 or 7 if that had been taken.
2 overs for 7 he's bowled. So
yeah, so it would be
good.
1 for 5, wouldn't it, if that had been taken? So, you know, 2 really good overs by Josh Cobb, and I think that's by that little incident of play there, you can tell which way the game is heading, I think.
Elsewhere in this group, Gloucestershire posted 203 for 6 in the West Country derby against Somerset, who were 17 for 0 after 3 at Taunton. There was 50 from Ian Cobain and 49 not out off 18 balls from Benny Howell, who's just come back into the Gloucestershire side. 49 off 18 balls. 52 for 0 Glamorgan are here after the power play. Also in the central group, Worcestershire against Birmingham Bears. Worcestershire 178 for 4 in their 20. Birmingham Bears 163 for 4 with 2.2 overs left, so it seems as though the Bears will win again. As Proctor bowls, and that's hit by Lloyd straight to backward point, where Sterling fields well, and there's no run. So the heroes of Ireland's one-day international win over England on opposite sides. Paul Sterling and the Northamptonshire Andrew Balbirnie playing for Glamorgan this season. Proctor from the River Taff end bowls, and Lloyd smashes that one over mid-on. He hasn't timed it, it'll just be a couple of runs as Cobb retreats, but he knew that the fielder was inside the ring and he had some freedom to try and go over the top. 54 for 0.
It's that cross-bat shot again, wasn't it? That it was off the sticker, really clothed that a bit, David. A lot of effort for little reward there, wasn't it? Just got outside the circle, but you know, when things are with you, which they are at the moment, he's playing a really good innings here, David Lloyd, and it should be one that gets Glamorgan home.
54 for 0. Proctor into bowl, short ball pulled around by Lloyd down towards fine leg, just for a single. But Glamorgan can just afford to deal in singles at the moment with only 44 to win. And 13 overs to come after this. Really will be a very quick finish at this rate. As Proctor in right arm medium, bowls to Selman, hits him on the pad. Lloyd initially wanted a single, but good reaction from Proctor down the wicket very quickly to prevent it. So Glamorgan's bowlers did a tremendous job today. 3 wickets for Sisodia, 3 for Van der Hoogten, 2 for Smith, 1 apiece to Salter and De Lange. De Lange finishing with 1 for 14, despite a few short balls that a couple of which vanished. Selman push and run on the offside for a single. Nothing Sterling could do about that one. 56 for 0 Glamorgan. 55 for 0. It's quite difficult to read the 5 and 6 at the top of the scoreboard. Well, that's my argument anyway.
At least it's on now, Nick.
At least it's on. It hasn't been its finest day. As Proctor's in, bowl, short ball. Lloyd pulls it down towards fine leg. Again, single bounce. Levy fields comfortably. 57 for 0. Glamorgan's 7 overs gone, relatively quiet over, but Glamorgan can stroll to victory as things stand at the moment. 42 needed and all 10 wickets still in hand. Tony Cotty.
Yeah, and that's the the biggest part of this. All right, we had a flyer at 57 off 7, but no wickets, and Northamptonshire had to get wickets in those first 6. They had to get 3 or 4 in the first 6, and otherwise Glamorgan were going to do this at a canter, which it looks like it's going to be, unfortunately, for you, Andrew's long trip down. And
well, no, it is, but it's always a pleasure to come to this ground and to this city, so we don't mind that.
Correct answer.
Absolutely.
Have you ever been to Swansea?
I have. I have to say, and I'll probably earn enemies. I actually probably enjoy going to do games at Swansea even more than I do here. I love St.
You'll do for me.
That's the correct answer for former Swansea City midfielder Tony Cotty.
I love St.
Not for long.
It's a terrific atmosphere, and you can watch the ships going in and out, which is always good if the cricket's not very interesting. Graham White back in the attack, bowling left arm round, and bowls short of a length to David Lloyd, who cracks that away towards the extra cover boundary. Ben Sanderson comes in off the fence, has to run round to his right to field. They pick up 2 easy runs, and Lloyd up to 37, 59 for no wicket. Yes, you used to be able to watch the ferries going in and out. Is it the Cork ferry?
Yeah, it doesn't go anymore, I don't think, the Cork ferry.
White in again, bowls, and again played off the back foot by Lloyd to Ben Sanderson, coming in off the extra cover boundary. More employment for him. Just a single this time. 1 more to Lloyd. 38 to him. 60 for no wicket. Glamorgan needing another 39 runs to win on this gorgeous afternoon. A lot of consultation now between Cobb and Graham White. White, as we've been saying, has been one of Northamptonshire's best players with bat and ball in the competition so far this season, but nobody has really covered themselves particularly in glory today. It's that time of the afternoon we're trying to think about who we're going to be talking to afterwards.
Good luck with that.
I think you may. I was going to say, I think you have an easier task than me today.
We've been there once or twice this season. Matt Maynard has fronted up nobly.
I know. Well, slip going in was the end product of that consultation, and that's hit on the pad as Selman shuffling forward.
Just going down, was it?
Yeah, I just wanted to make a little bit of, maybe got an inside edge on it. But either way, there wasn't really an appeal. So Russell Warren not really called upon to make a decision as White bowls again, and Selman punches that past the man on the perch there at short extra, and they pick up a single as Luke Proctor has to come round from mid-off to field. 1 more to Selman, 22 to him, 61 for no wicket. Glamorgan. Northamptonshire having already used 5 bowlers. Cobb, Sanderson, White, Buck and Proctor. And White in again, round the wicket, bowls, and a nice on drive by David Lloyd up to Nathan Buck, who has to come in off the long on boundary to field, and they get an easy single. 1 more to Lloyd, 39 to him, 62 for no wicket. Buck, who of course made a little bit of a hash of that possible chance in the previous over, bowled by Josh Cobb, his captain. White in again, bowls, and just tucks up Selman a little bit as he looks to play that off the back foot, doesn't time it. Goes up to short extra, and there's no run. 39 to Lloyd, 22 to Selman, as another over ticks by. 8 gone, 62 for no wicket, 37 more runs needed for victory.
Yeah, good over, just a quiet one, only 5 off it, but again no wickets, so Glamorgan still cantering to victory at the moment, and tough, as I said, tough place to be out there in the field. But T20 cricket, you can't get too down on yourself if you lose a game like this, because there's 10 in the comp, and really you need to win 6 and you to go through. So you've got to keep the confidence levels high. I think this is one to just park, bad day at the office, and move on.
So is this the skipper back into the attack?
It is.
It is Josh Cobb and his shades from the River Taff end, and the first ball is played back gently to him by David Lloyd. Birmingham Bears have beaten Worcestershire Rapids by 6 wickets at New Road. 179 was the target, as that's driven hard back past the bowler by David Lloyd, but it'll be stopped by Proctor on the long on boundary, and they'll just take the single. 63 for naught. So Bears got home with 5 balls to spare 73 not out from Sam Hain. Here's White again. Reverse sweep comes out from Salmon. There's an appeal for LBW. Not out. The ball is rolling down towards the boundary and hits the rope now. And just signalled as the boundary. So it must have been a little edge there somewhere, as Salmon went for the rarely used reverse sweep bottom edge, possibly.
Yeah, a little bottom edge. A little skinny bottom edge.
When things aren't going for you, they aren't going for you. And the visitors have... not benefited from much tonight, as this afternoon, as Salmon forces that one up towards mid-wicket, and that bounces one bounce to the fielder out there in the deep. So Glamorgan tantalising Northants with suggestions of chances. 68 for naught. Cobb bowls to Lloyd, back on his stumps, plays that one to mid-wicket. Good piece of fielding there by Berg, the veteran all-rounder. 68 for naught. White Cobb bowls, and that's chipped back to him by David Lloyd. There is the Northants' first wicket. David Lloyd's gone for 40, caught and bowled by Josh Cobb. It's 68 for 1 in the 9th.
Yeah, that wicket, if you wanted to sum up the game, the pitch, what would be a good score, that wicket will tell you everything. It's just sat in the pitch. He looked to force it off the back foot, and it's literally just lobbed as if he's underarmed it back to the bowler. So no pace. Great knock by David Lloyd. To be fair, the only person, I know all out 98, but the only person who looked fluent, Nick Selman's played nicely, but David Lloyd came in straight away and looked to take the attack to Northamptonshire in that opening 6, and really good knock.
Yeah, Selman's been going at around about a run a ball. David Lloyd considerably more than that. He hit 4 fours and 1 6, and has helped Glamorgan to 68 for 1 in the 9th over. That was in fact the last ball of the 9th over, but just 31 runs needed to win for Glamorgan, and 11 overs in which to do it. So Andrew BALBIRNIE can treat it as something of a net in the middle, because there's absolutely no pressure on the run rate, just 3 and over needed.
Yeah, it's nice day to come into bat. Maybe get a little red ink. It's always nice in any form of the game, red inks, and they're not out for him, but he'll need to get himself in, because it's not too easy but to score boundaries, but I think with the field as it is, it's you should be able to get off strike quite comfortably.
Chris Cook's gone out at number 3.
Oh, is he?
So unless Andrew BALBIRNIE's wearing his shirt.
No, that looks more Cook's tap than BALBIRNIE's.
So
you sold me down the river there, Nick.
So Cook wants to be in there for the victory. I'll see if he is. Graham White starting his final over, bowling round the wicket to Nick Selman, who drives that up to Nathan Bucket long on and picks up another single. One more to him, 28 69 for 1.
Well, BALBIRNIE's batted 3 in every other game.
Well, I think maybe Chris Cook fancies the little red inker then tonight. Who can blame him? So come on then, chaps. Who am I going to talk to at the end?
The coach. One of the coaches.
Coach day. It could be a coach day. I thought I might have a chat with Tom Sole on the basis that he batted longer than anybody else for Northamptonshire today. We'll see. Anyway, Graham White bowling round the wicket to the Glamorgan captain, Chris Cook. Well satisfied with his day's work. Just plays that to backward point, Paul Sterling fields, and
we'll start with happy birthday, Rippers. That might get him in a good mood. Ouch.
I'm not absolutely sure it would today, to be perfectly honest, Nick. The most affable of men, but he won't have been terribly delighted, I'm sure, what he's seen today as White comes in and bowls to Cook, who gets off the mark, was dabbing that down and towards the bound at short. The third, Paul Sterling, this time he had a bit of ground to cover, and so he comes through for an easy single. Cook off the mark, 70 for 1.
Josh Cobb, he's bowled well.
Yeah, Josh Cobb's bowled well. I'll have a think. As White comes in, bowls once again, and let's feel for a stumping, and he's given out. So Graham White strikes. Nick Selman beaten on the outside edge, goes through to Adam Rossington. He didn't look to be coming down the pitch particularly, must have lifted his heel. He's given out by umpire Jeff Evans, and so Northamptonshire have picked up another wicket. While there's life, there's hope.
Good game to win.
Over. Well, it'd be a very good one to win from here, but Selman's gone, stumped Rossington, bowled White for 28, and Glamorgan a 70 for 2.
We're a long way here, but is that... Let's have a look who's coming into bat. Callum Taylor's coming into bat.
Oh, this is interesting. Shuffling the batting order, perhaps Taylor needing the confidence, as innings so far 23, 7, 12, 2 and 2, so a little bit short of runs, and maybe just a chance for the youngster to play an innings with relatively little pressure on him.
It was interesting, if you saw the replay, Tony, that stumping, but it didn't look as though he didn't make any attempt to come down the pitch. He must just have lifted his heel, because his back foot looked to be planted, but he must just have lifted it up as he played his defensive stroke.
When you're expecting to hit the ball, sometimes when you miss it, that does happen with your back beating on the outside.
A little bit of pressure for the new batsman, slip in place as White bowls to Taylor, who's defensively coming forward, plays it back down the pitch for Graham White to field, and there's no run. White once again setting some challenges for the batsman. Fine performer in this sort of cricket, which is now all he plays, of course, and once again forcing a defensive stroke from Callum Taylor. Back down the pitch, end of the over, end of his spell. 4 overs, 1 for 22, and at the end of the 10th over, halfway, Glamorgan 70 for 2.
Yeah, bowled well. The two spinners are bowled really well. You kind of half expect that as well on this pitch, but yeah, they bowl well as well, I suppose, as the two Glamorgan spinners. But I think Glamorgan always had that luxury, didn't they, of knowing that they were only chasing a very modest score, and with that David Lloyd first 2 or 3 overs, they pretty much broke the back of it. But you never know in this. 29, is it 29 to win? 29
to win, 8 wickets still left, 10 overs.
Well,
good one to win for the visitors.
I tell you what, you would be hanging from the next oak tree if you lost this from here, Glamorgan, but you never know.
Here's Cobb then to try and make things happen. Bowls, and Cook works it away on the leg side, takes a single. They'll turn, think about the second then, and decide correctly against it as the throw came in from mid-wicket. 71 for 2. Glamorgan needing just a further 28 runs to win.
That's the man you don't take a second to, Tom Sole. He's very, very quick and he's got a good arm.
So Callum Taylor on strike. Will there be a squeeze? Yes, they're bringing them up. 6 inside the circle. Reverse sweep from Taylor, and the appeal not out as the ball lobbed through to keeper Rossington. They didn't sound that convinced in the end.
I think I remember playing a game at Derby when we went to 23 with 7 wickets left off about 4 overs and losing.
As Taylor steps back and slaps that one out towards mid-wicket. One bounce out to the boundary fielder. Seemed to put a lot of effort into that, but yet again the ball not coming onto the bat. Got away with it. Single taken, 72 for 2. Cobb bowls, and Cook thinks about a push and run, but it is dribbling straight to cover. No run, 72 for 2. Morgan might not win this with too many overs in hand, as Cook drives into the offside, takes a single out to cover point. Again, they don't risk the second. 73 for 2. 3 singles off this over here on BBC Radio Northampton, Glamorgan website, BBC Sport Online from sunny Sophia Gardens. Cobb in, bowls to Taylor, who pulls it down to backward square along the ground for a single. Well, that'll do, Glamorgan. 4 singles off the over. 74 for 2 off 11. Cook is 3, Taylor is 2. Batsman out. Selman stumped Rossington, bowled White for 28, and Lloyd caught and bowled Cobb for 40.
Good spell by Josh Cobb, that. And as I said, the spinners for Northamptonshire bowled really well.
Well, it's an interesting one here, Tony, because I think they would probably dearly love, if they got a few more runs to play with, to think about giving Paul Sterling an over or two, but he had a bit of a side, just tweaked his side a little bit in the previous game, which meant he didn't bowl in that one, so presumably then they don't think there's a lot of point risking him.
Yeah, especially at this stage. Yeah.
Well, there's not really the best will in the world, not a huge amount at stake here. Gareth Berg is coming into the attack, 6th bowler used by Northamptonshire, 74 for 2, so just 25 needed off 9 overs, 8 wickets in hand. And he's bowling to Callum Taylor, who looks to play that away on the onside, bounces off the pad. And Tom Sole, who's a real live wire in the field, as I mentioned in the previous over, very quick to the ball, terrific arm, now finds himself in at mid-wicket, which isn't probably the position that you would normally associate him with, but he's there now as Berg comes in and bowls, and Taylor gets a single as he plays that down. In fact, might get 2. He does get 2. That's well run as he played it down behind square on the onside, and Ben Sanderson having to come in off the boundary, and they come through for 2, and the bowler not looking terribly chuffed about that. 75 for 2, 3 to Cook and 4 to Taylor. Taylor faces this ball from Gareth Berg, who he flays that away towards cover point, and then comes in off the boundary to field, and he gets just a single. He just rehearses the shot. Again, he just clothed a little bit, and as Tony Cotty's been saying all afternoon, these horizontal bat shots, cross bat shots, proving very problematic for batsmen on both sides today. 77 for 2 it is now, 22 runs needed. Berg in bowls to Cook, who's defensive, up on the onside, fielded again by Tom Sole in his position at mid-wicket, and there's no run. Northamptonshire not having Saif Zaib in the side for this game. He will be available, all being well, for selection on Tuesday against Worcestershire, and I should think he'll probably come back into the side as Berg comes in again, bowls. Ball to Cook, which he looks to just run away down towards third man, just bounced on him a little bit. It's a good take by Adam Rossington, standing up.
The odd ball has gone through and bounced,
Yeah.
hasn't it? You know, we said Martian DeLange got some, well, I looked a really quick ball, the one that went through above head height to the keeper. And that seemed to bounce a little bit.
It just took the batsman a little bit by surprise. Cook facing again, and Berg this time is turned on the onside. Once again, just finds Tom Sole at mid-wicket. So tidy over from Gareth Berg. 11 gone, 12 gone rather, 77 for 2, just 3 runs off that one.
Yeah, it's after the Lord Mayor's show a little bit, isn't it? You know, it looked like it was going to be over in about by 12 overs when David Lloyd was in with Nick Selman, but the last 3 overs have been pretty tight, and I think it's gone. Yeah, we've gone about 3 and over, haven't we, for the last 3 or 4 overs? So it shows that the wicket hasn't changed really, and 140 might have very well been a very good score on this.
They obviously didn't fancy the beer match that we were talking about earlier for the early finish that we used to do in the club cricket I used to play, at any rate, if it finished very early. Ben Sanderson back in the attack, having bowled right at the start. Bowled 1 over for 14, that was the second over of the innings that just got Glamorgan on a bit of a roll. He comes in, bowls to Taylor, who plays that backward point, well fielded, smartly fielded by Graham White, diving away to his left. Keeper standing up for Sanderson, which again tells you pretty much all you need to know about the nature of the pitch. Glamorgan have only beaten Northamptonshire twice in T20 cricket. Northamptonshire have won 8. A couple of no results and 1 abandoned without a ball bowled. Sanderson bowls to Taylor, who pulls that away through mid-wicket. I think he's going to get 4 runs. It's chased towards the boundary, but Alex Wakely is not going to be able to catch up with that one. Crosses the rope, and Glamorgan 4 runs closer to their 3rd T20 victory over Northamptonshire. 81 for 2, just 18 more needed.
Yeah, I thought that might be the case when you mentioned the 150 being Northampton's lowest score. I mean, that's a decent score when you think 160, anywhere around 160, and you're in the game, aren't you?
Yeah, that's the lowest. Well, field back in place as Sanderson from the River Taff end bowls to Callum Taylor, who drives up without any power up to extra cover, fielded by Paul Sterling, and there's no run. Sterling missing out today, as did virtually the whole of the Northamptonshire's top order. He was out for a single. Richard Levy for 2. Northamptonshire from 8 for 2. not managing to find a way back. Sanderson still on this beautiful sunny afternoon, running towards us, and bowls to Taylor, who whips that one away nicely, just behind square on the onside, and picks up a single. 82 for 2, 17 more runs needed. Cooke is 3, Taylor is 10. Tom Sole now finding himself in his more accustomed position as a boundary runner. It's about 10 yards in from the rope at deep backward square, and otherwise backward point, extra cover, mid off, mid on, mid wicket, all in the circle. As Sanderson bowls to Chris Cooke, who plays that up to mid on. They go through for a very sharp single, but it's well judged, and Cooke went straight away. And although Luke Proctor shied at the stumps at the non-striker's end, he missed, and they were through for a comfortable single anyway. 4 to Cooke, 83 for 2. 16 more runs required. Colours at the trees at the far end just starting to turn a little bit more brown than green in some of them, which tells you that we are on the 13th of September today. A few autumnal colours in evidence as Sanderson bowls, and that's nicely cut down to third man by Callum Taylor. Nathan Buck comes in off the fence and fields, but it's another easy single to Taylor, who goes up to 11. 4 to Cooke, end of the over, 13 gone. It's 84 for 2, and Glamorgan needing 15 more runs to win.
Yeah, it feels like, like a football match when someone's 3-0 up and you want them to score more goals, but but they're just quite happy to keep the ball. That's what the back end of this game is at the minute, because both these two, I think, are eyeing up a little red ink each.
There speaks midfield maestro Tony Carty.
God, only my mother calls me that.
Knocking it around in the centre of the park.
Oh,
bit of Swans tiki-taka.
That's a distant memory, isn't it?
So here's Berg then into bowl, a short delivery that's hooked down to fine leg for just a single by Callum Taylor. 85 for 2. Taylor on to 12 not out. Rehearsing the shot. Couldn't go at it full pelt because he might have holed out with 2 back out of square on the leg side boundary. But the head-banded Berg lopes away from us and bowls, and Cooke's hit this one straight up in the air. There should be a player underneath it, and there is at mid-wicket.
Tom Sole.
And Sole takes the catch, and Cooke has gone for just 4. He had another player who didn't read the bounce of this pitch and got underneath it. 85 for 3.
Yeah, another cross-bat shot, wasn't it? Another cross-bat shot that didn't quite come through. Top edge and straight up. But no harm done, I don't suppose, for Glamorgan there. But he's had a fine season, Chris Cooke. So if he was going to have a bad day, a failure, today's not a bad day to have it.
Yeah, he's just lost a little bit of momentum with the bat, Chris Cooke, after really carrying them for the first 3 games of this competition, and indeed playing a leading role in salvaging 2 out of the 3 draws that Glamorgan managed in the red ball stuff. So 85 for 3, just 14 runs needed to win. Northants carry on fighting, make the scoreboard look a bit more respectable.
Can we just welcome listeners to BBC Radio Northampton on FM, who are now with us, having crossed back from Welford Road, where Saints didn't quite get up there to win the East Midlands Derby this afternoon, and I wish I could tell you that Northamptonshire were going to win this one, but they're probably not.
Score being 85 for 3 Glamorgan. We're in the 14th over, but just 99 needed to win. Northants bowled out for just 98 today. Tom Sole top scored with 25. There were 3 wickets each for Prem Sisodia and the seamer Tim van der Hoogten, but Northants batsmen unable to read the pace or deal with it of this sticky pitch, or lack of pace, as that's a short ball from Berg. The batsman ducks underneath and it's gone through for 4 byes.
Oh, thank you very much, the keeper saying. that was a bouncer. Keeper stood up, and at the last minute the batter avoided it, and he's just caught him on the top of the finger. He's not happy with that.
Especially as that's the finger, that right hand was what kept him out of cricket for a week or so, a week, 10 days.
Well, that was banged in by Berg. Rossington is marching off indignantly to get some treatment on that hand. He's got to get his cap. He's
going back.
I'm not standing up to you any. And a few words to fellow fielders about the injustice of life in general. Surely there should have been a signal from bowler to keeper if he's going to bang one in short.
If ever there was a moment to have players mic'd up, it was that, I think, Nick.
We could have done with a bleep machine. 89 for 3, 10 to win, as that is slow ball outside off stump. It's cut away hard down towards backward point, and Callum Taylor will pick up an extra 2 runs. 91 for 3, Taylor on to 14 not out. Yes. There might have been a little forgivable effing and jeffing there from the keeper, you feel. Berg with the Bjorn Borg band bowls, and that's just defended out on the offside, and they'll nick through for a quick single. Callum Taylor moves on to 15. The Ireland captain Andrew Balbirnie onto strike, coming in at number 5 today. Slight reshuffle of the batting order from Glamorgan. We'll not know whether it was planned beforehand or whether it was just Cooke fancied about himself and then thought that Callum Taylor could do with a bit of confidence. Balbirnie looked in reasonable nick on Friday night, waits for it, cuts it away through the covers, takes a single. 93 for 3, and the batsman just so much time to watch the ball onto the bat here, Tony. If they want to, if it's anywhere short of a length, you can sit and have a look at it for half a second, can't you?
Yeah, it's all down to what you think is a good score. When those are quite easy balls to get singles off, but if you're looking to post a score north of 160, then they're quite difficult to hit boundaries off, and that's been Northamptonshire's problem. They overestimated what a good score was going to be, and carried on playing the same way all the way through, and kept losing wickets at regular intervals. And Glamorgan are in a much nicer position, knowing they've literally got to just bat the overs out and they're going to win the game.
Yes, the first day in Glamorgan's season that I haven't had to write a match report for the online presence. As that one's through Balbirnie, that was a bit of something from Luke Proctor, who managed to get a bit of life out of the pitch for once, and Balbirnie was beaten. So it's the first day I haven't written the online match report for Glamorgan, and my colleague David Pritchard must be wondering if it's like this all the time.
You might get the gig all the time as well.
He's welcome to it, as long as I retain the microphone. As Proctor is in to bowl to Balbirnie, short ball that Balbirnie pulls down to fine leg, takes the single. 94 for 3, 5 to win here for Glamorgan. You wonder if this is a one-off pitch or whether they'll use it again on Wednesday against Somerset.
I think it might be going underground by then.
94 for 3. Callum Taylor on strike on 15 not out. Balls short ball does Proctor. Taylor ties to hook, doesn't get anything on it, and Proctor actually has beaten the batsman for pace a couple of times in this over, and it's not very often we've said that this afternoon. Northants 98 all out, Glamorgan 94 for 3. You're on BBC Radio Northampton, BBC Sport Online, Glamorgan Cricket website. As Proctor is in to bowl, and Taylor works on the leg side, and good sprawling stop at mid-wicket, but they're able to go through for a single. Tom Sole looking enthusiastic even at this late stage in the game. The 24-year-old son of former Scotland prop David, and his uncle Chris Trembath played for Gloucestershire. 95 for 3, 4 to win, as that's driven on the leg side by Balbirnie, who just take the single. 96 for 3, the previous single hadn't quite gone on the board, so 3 to win for Glamorgan, and they should get home with around about quarter of their overs left in hand, so that'll help to boost the run rate. Taylor steps back and tries to cut that ball. doesn't get anything on it through to Rossington. He's actually beaten the bat 3 times in that over. Luke Proctor, fair play, but got nothing for it.
Yeah, good slower ball that. The last ball of the over to finish. But, three to win. That's I think who's coming on to bowl? Is it Spence Anderson? 3 to win. This should be the last over.
Nathan Buck, I think.
Oh, Nathan Buck, yeah.
England 150 for 8 with only 9 overs left against Australia. 3 wickets for the spinner Zampa, 2 for Mitchell Stark, who we nearly saw here this summer in the 100.
I know how England feel.
96 for 3 as Buck runs in from the Cathedral Road end and bowls to Balbirnie, who drives straight to short extra cover and no run. Bears beat Worcestershire Rapids by 6 wickets. Somerset 84 for 4 after 12, 87 for 4 after 12, chasing 204 against Gloucestershire, so 117 needed off 8. That looks like Gloucestershire's game there. As Buck is in with 3 to win for Glamorgan to bowl to Balbirnie, who drives down the ground but won't get a run there as it's well stopped by Cobb, hurling himself to his left at mid-on to make the stop. Captain leading by example. So it looks like Glamorgan will be going up to 5 points in this competition very shortly. We'll still need to win all 3 remaining games. Northants set to remain on 9 as that was worked off his legs by Balbirnie down towards backward square. They'll think about a second, decide against it. In no hurry to get this winning total. 97 for 3, Balbirnie under 4. Taylor is 16, the batsman out. Lloyd for 40, Selman 28, Cook for 4. Wicket piece to Cobb, White and Berg. Buck runs away from us and bowls to Taylor, who mistimes this one. Hits it straight to short extra cover. No run. Talk about a dead pitch.
It's an awful wicket, isn't it, for one-day cricket, really? Very, very slow.
Let's hope they're not using it on Wednesday. And I've had the post-mortem by then. 97 for 3, 2 to win. Still 4 overs left after this one. Buck in to bowl to Taylor, who cuts it down to third man to take the single. Scores level. The throw comes into Rossington. Let's hope his bang on the finger was only bruising after just recovering from a previous hand injury. 98 for 3. Balbirnie is on strike. He's on 4 not out. Callum Taylor is 17 not out at the non-strikers end. As Nathan Buck from the Cathedral Road end is in to bowl, and Balbirnie clips it off his legs down towards backward square. They stroll through for the winning single. Glamorgan 99 for 3 have won this match very comfortably indeed by 7 wickets here at Sophia Gardens. Balbirnie 5 not out and Taylor is 17 not out. Tony.
Yeah, it was the game was in the bag, wasn't it, at half time. Just as a recap, a summary, stuff I've really been saying right the way through. Northamptonshire didn't assess early enough what a good target would be. Kept on going at it quite hard, a lot of cross-bat shots on what was a very, very slow, probably two-paced wicket. Glamorgan spinners bowled well, I thought, at the front end, and Salter and Sisodia, I always get his name mixed up, Sisodia and Tim van der Gooten bowled beautifully as well. So, but there weren't too many great shots from Northants. A lot of the 4s that they did hit were poor balls from Glamorgan bowlers, short balls. But ultimately it was so difficult to keep the scoreboard ticking, and Northamptonshire kept losing wickets at regular intervals, and 98 was never ever going to be anywhere near enough even on this pitch. And David Lloyd, 40 at the front end, played really well, and it was just a stroll.
I just wonder, Tony, if you feel that there's anything that Northamptonshire can take out of that game, really. They batted poorly in the conditions. The spinners bowled well. I suppose that's about it, really.
Yeah, spinners bowl well. And they apparently bowl well. You were saying throughout this year. So that's a plus point. But T20, what they got to take out of this is literally forget it, because you can't have hangovers from games in T20. The next one will be along very shortly, and you've got to play this game with confidence and no fear of failure, and more than any other form of the game. So I think it is one of those things. Look, just got to park it, move on. We've still got 9 points. If we win 2 more games, we're definitely through. If we win our last 3, we might get a home quarter final. I think that's the positive out of it.
Well, Northamptonshire now have got a quick turnaround, because they play at home to Worcestershire on Tuesday, and then it's the trip down to Taunton to play Somerset on Friday night, which will be an interesting one, and then finishing up against the Bears a week today, and they've certainly hit a bit of form in the competition now, so it's going to be an interesting one. Who've Glamorgan got next up?
Glamorgan have got West Country opponents. They're back here on Wednesday night against Somerset. Then Friday night it's Gloucestershire visiting Sophia Gardens, and then on Sunday Glamorgan finish off with a trip to New Road to face Worcestershire. Coverage of all those games, of course, on BBC Sport Online, as there will be on for all Northants games, Andrew.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, we should be back on parade at Wantage Road on Tuesday, but we very much hope you've enjoyed our coverage of this match from Sophia Gardens this afternoon. From me, Andrew Rad, from Nick Webb, from Tony Cotty. We hope you've enjoyed. If you're a Morgan supporter, you'll have enjoyed it hugely. If you're a Northamptonshire supporter, you might not have enjoyed it quite as much. But the sun's shining, and as Tony Cotty said, 3 more games for Northamptonshire, and they'll be looking to bounce back as quickly as possible. For now, from Sophia Gardens in Cardiff, it's good afternoon, and we'll hand you back to the studio.